told the Moors they didn't want it. I told the Moors they didn't want it. I told the Moors they didn't want it. Be careful what you ask for, cause now you gonna get it. Let's get it popping with this PowerPoint. R.I.P. to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Especially Bebe with the feds, who try to call himself Tahaka. Tahaka Bebe. Nah, dude, that you been wiped clean of that name. You from now on, you Bebe with the feds. So be clear on that. You know what I mean? Let's make it very clear. Tahaka was not a Moor. Okay, he was a Nubian. Let's be very clear. He was the people of Ta-Seti. Okay, Ta-Nehisi, the Sudan. Okay? Let's be real clear on that. It's black. It ain't just white people that's fighting for the minds of black people. It's also misinformed, miseducated black people fighting for the minds of black people. You know what I'm saying? Hebrew Israelites, Christians, Muslims, Moors, all these miseducated, misoriented African people are fighting for the minds of black people. And like my brother, the General Sawa Sutin said, he said, as long as they stay open, we gonna stay open. As long as the Hebrew Israelites gonna stay open, we gonna stay open. As long as the Muslims gonna stay open, we gonna stay open. As long as the Christians gonna stay open, the churches, we gonna be open. You feel me? Because the war is for the mind of our people and for their hearts, because that's the greatest resources we got. Y'all thought I was only Kemet? Y'all thought I only knew about ancient Kemet? Y'all don't know me too well. I do this. It's called scholarship. Oh, and Bebe with the feds. Bebe with the tassel. Call yourself Tahaka Bay. You told me to get my scholarship up. It's gonna be so up right now, you're gonna get a crook in your neck from looking up. You're gonna be looking up like this. You're gonna get a permanent crook in your neck. Since you wanna talk shit to a real scholar. Okay? To a bona fide scholar. Here we go. Here we go. Okay? Here's Canaan, the Levantine area. Alright, according to Noble Drew Ali, this is where the descendants of Africa come from. And they worship Allah as their universal God. According to Noble Drew Ali and the Circle 7 Quran and the Moors with the fez. Like Bebe with the fez in them. Right? They say that this is where we come from. Right? They say the people here came from here and that Allah is the universal God. But if that's the case, you got to tell me why, number one, Allah don't come from here. Allah don't come from here, from Arabia. Allah comes from here, Mesopotamia, Sumer, Babylon, Assyria. This is where Allah comes from. Okay? So how the hell you gonna say, are you gonna say Allah started here and then went there? Nah, bro, I can count. And I'm gonna show you what I mean. See, Samunye's boy can count. You feel me? Allah's Sumerian birth certificate. Here you go. Okay? Yes. This is where Allah comes from. Sumer. Sumerian. Here we go. You know who that white boy is? That white boy is Dr. Thorkild Peter Rudolph Jacobson, PhD. Right? In 1927, he got his MA from the University of Copenhagen. 1929, PhD, Oriental Institute, University of Chicago. 1929 to 1937, right? Field Assyriologist for the Iraq expedition of the Oriental Institute at the University of Chicago. 1946, he was the director of the Oriental Institute. 1955 to 59, he was the editor of the Assyrian Dictionary. 1962, professor of Assyriology at Harvard University, where he remained until his retirement in 1974. Expert translator, brilliant interpreter, whose insights led to a deeper understanding and appreciation of the institutions and normative references of Sumerian and Akkadian culture. 1974, retired as a professor of Assyriology at Harvard University. 1974, visiting professor at UCLA, helped to develop a strong Assyriology program. His critical edition of the Sumerian King List, published in 1939, and is still the definitive edition. Now that means this is the man that introduced the Sumerian King's List. His critical edition is the definitive edition. His translation of Sumerian poetry and his explanations of the intricacies of the Sumerian verbal system illumine these areas with fresh ideas. So that means anytime you're dealing with something, dealing with Sumeria or Assyria or Akkad, you got to go to this man. That's the man that literally wrote the book. So if you ain't dealing with Rudolph Jacobson, PhD, we can't talk about the subject. Here you go. This is his book, Sumerian Poetry and Translation. The Hearts That Once. That's the name of his book. You can get a copy for $30. Okay? Let's see what it says in his book. This is the back page of his book. It showed in the back of his book, it's going to show you the gods. He's talking about a cycle of gods. It says here, this litany, I'm going to read it for you. This litany constitutes, especially in its short form, with only Ninatsu, Damu, Ningishishida, and Allah, Lugashudi, and Ishtaran, the heart of the Damu cycle of gods, and appears to be limited to the local cults of the lower Euphrates region. Now, if you're talking about the Damu cycle of gods, you're talking about ancient Sumer. Did you hear what I said? You're talking about ancient Sumer. Allah is an ancient Sumerian god. He's one of the Damu gods. But, oh, y'all knew this already, right? Yeah, okay. We're going to dig further to see about this Allah who's supposed to be the universal God. He was a Sumerian god, part of the Damu cycles. Continue. From the same book, The Hearts That Once, by Dr. Thornton Jacobson, PhD. That man was the ultimate authority on Sumerian history. Here you go. And linguistics. It says in his book, Sumerian Poetry, it says, he's quoting Inanna laments her dead husband, Dumutsi, Ninatsu, Damu, etc. For her husband, alas, the lad, the warrior Ninatsu. Alas, the lad, my Damu. Alas, the lad, the child, Ningishizita. Alas, the lad, Allah, owner of the net. Do you see that? Allah. That is a Damu god in Sumer named Allah. We ain't done. Hold on. Oh, it continues on the bottom. Songs of from the Damusi text. Okay? Songs of the Mother's Search. Probably beginning of the older version. Alas, the lad Allah, owner of the net. Page 20. Go check it out. That's a 60-second line in the Damusi text. These are Sumerian text. This is so old that, how could I put it? You're talking about at least you're talking about the second, third millennium BCE. Ain't no Islam yet. Hold on.
In this time period, Muhammad would be a pedophile. He would be considered.
Well, we ain't talking about that right now. Here we go. Right? Here you go, page 84. Allah's name is mentioned again in the Damuti text. Allah, owner of the net. Hold on. We just getting started. On page 53, woe the lad, Allah, owner of the net. This is a god. This is a deity. Just like Horus is a god. Just like Set is a god. Just like or Set is a goddess. Right? Well, Allah in the Sumerian culture was just one of many gods. He was part of the gods of the Damu cycle. A particular cycle. Okay, let's go. Here you go. All right. Page 491. Inki, full form, Intiket or Inketek, God of fresh water. Allah, same as. So he makes the presumption that Allah and Inki are one and the same. Father of Inanna. Okay? Here you go. Page 489. Allah, the Alagula. Okay? So the bottom line is that the name Allah is mentioned in the book, The Hearts That Once, Sumerian Poetry in Translation. So this man is translating from the Sumerian text. He translated the poetry, and throughout the poetry, there's a God being referred to named Allah. Okay? Let's be clear on that. Now, this is one of his students. I just introduced you to Dr. Thorkin Peter Rudolph Jacobson, PhD of Harvard. right? This is his student, Ben Alster. Okay? He studied Assyriology at the University of Copenhagen from 65 to 72 and received a doctoral degree in 75, so he's a PhD. He spent 1 year in Rome at the Biblical Institute and another 71 at Harvard University studying with who? Thorkild Jacobson, the same guy I just introduced you to. So these are the top dogs when you're trying to understand ancient Sumerian writing, ancient Sumerian culture, ancient Sumerian language, or Assyriology as it's called. These are the guys you got to go to. Okay? He was visiting scholar at the British expedition to Iraq, Baghdad in 1990, and visiting scholar at the Babylonian collection at Yale University in 1992. Ben Alster was external lecturer at the University of Copenhagen from 78 to 2005. He ranks amongst the most significant Sumerologists of the past half century. This is one of the top dogs. It tells you right there. Read it, go to Wikipedia. Read his 411. He's one of the top Sumeriologists of the past half century. So you got to go to this man. Let's see what it says in his book, Death in Mesopotamia. Okay, here it is, edited by Brent Alster, PhD. It says right here, page 63, the forerunner by implication, whereas the former is Sumerian, the latter is an Akkadian feminine ending in tomb. Oh, it says, let's read it. The forerunner by implication identify Ediskigal with Alatum, whereas the forerunner is Sumerian, so what he figured out was that Ediskigal is Sumerian. The latter has an Akkadian feminine ending, Tum, which meant that Alatum, Tum is the female version of Allah. And I see that. Tum is the female version of Allah. You understand what I'm saying? So here we go. We went through the quick recap. Identity wars, foundational identity. We asked the question, are the descendants of enslaved blacks in America the descendants of Canaan and or Mesopotamia? Why did we ask that question? Because in the manual for the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Circle 7 Quran, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, who said that he was guided by his father God Allah, who he considers the great God of the universe, right? They say in that book, in their book, not Shakka Ahmose's book, chapter 47, Egypt, capital empire of Dominion of Africa, number 1, they say the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. I did not say that. Their book says that. Their manual says that. That's why we asked the question. Are the descendants of enslaved blacks in America the descendants of Canaan and or Mesopotamia? We just keep it in 100. So we're going to move right through it. What did I do? Now, some of you retards out there, and you all Moors, I know you Moors, or Hebrew Israelites, you said yesterday that I wasn't showing any sources. Okay, retard, look up in the corner. U.S., now, let me get my pointer for you, because I know you got low IQs out there. Here you go. U.S. National Library of Medicine. See that? U.S. National Library of Medicine. Go to their website, retard, PMC. National Institute of Health. Here it is. National Institutes of Health. Okay? That's a source. Because you say I wasn't showing any sources. That is a source. The National Institute of Health is a source. You retard. Okay? Public access. See what that says? Public access. Okay? Science is the category. Published 2009, May 22nd. Look it up. Go to the PMC website. Could you just do me a favor and quickly Google PMC for me so I can tell them what it stands for?
All right, Google PMC?
Yeah, PMC.
Okay.
PMC, okay, cool. Here you go. All right? What I quoted from was an article on their site called, it's an author manuscript called The Genetic Structure and History of Africans and African Americans. What did he, the genetic structure and history, what is it? Yeah, what does it stand for? PubMed something?
PubMed Central.
Yeah, PubMed Central. It's a
Central.
right, PubMed, but it's right,
Central.
right. It stands for Public Medical Central. So it's a medical website.
Biomedical Life Science.
What is it again?
Biomedical and Life Science.
Biomedical and Life Science. Okay, that's what it's a biomedical and life science website. Okay, and here Well, they sponsor the U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health manuscripts. They have them on their website. So you can read it, and there's a document number right there for you retards. PMC 2947-35-7. It's right there. It's in their journal. See, it's a journal list. I got to spend more time pointing out the nature of the source than the information on it because you stuck on stupid. Okay? The genetic structure and history of Africans and African Americans. Okay? This is the abstract from it. As I pointed out, the ancestry, because y'all want to say that we from Canaan. But our DNA calls you a liar. The genetic history, the genetic report says that you are wrong, incorrect.
Facts.
Now I'm going to read it again. You're probably going to say I still didn't show a source because you retarded. But you can't show a source to a retard because there's no such thing as a source. Here it goes. The ancestry of African Americans is predominantly from Niger Kordofanian, 71%, European, 13%, and other African, 8% populations. So the majority of what we are, if you're walking around New York, Detroit, New Jersey, California, Texas, Rhode Island, Miami, Chicago, if you are an American African, this is your genetic makeup of your ancestry. The majority of what you are, according to the DNA, 71% Niger Kordofanian. Now we're going to see what that means. Yeah, absolutely. 13%, yeah. 13% other African, 13% European. That's the retarded part of us, and 8% populations. Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. So I'm going to try to move fast, folks, so we can get to the rest of it. All right? Here we go. This is Niger Kordofanian, okay? The Niger-Congo part in West Africa they're talking about, but it's below the Sahara. Sahara's here. So you're talking about from here, Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Chad, Nigeria, all of this area, all the way down to South Africa, including Angola, Zambia, Tanzania, right? All of this area here, right? South Central Zimbabwe, all of this, South Central, okay? Republic of the Congo, and the Kordofanian part, which is just as important, is right here, okay? Right here, in the central part of the Sudan, okay? I guess that's Central West. Right? Central West Sudan. South Central West Sudan is where our ancestry goes back to. And that's important because that's the Nuba Hills. The Nuba people are there. Our ancestry dates back to the Nuba people. Do not confuse the Nuba people with the Nubians. That's a whole nother story, and I'll tell you about that some other time. Okay? Not that there's not an overlap, but it would be a mistake to confuse the Nuba people with the Nubians. Now, that's our ancestry, okay? DNA-wise. It didn't mention nothing about Morocco, which is up here. And it damn sure didn't mention nothing about Canaan, which is over here. You GPS challenge motherfuckers, okay? Y'all need GPS. Canaan is over here. Nothing in our DNA said anything about going back over here. It just named the places I just named. Now, we're going to be fair, and we're going to take migrational histories into account. All right, no problem. You know, we can talk about that some other time, but we ain't here to talk about that right now. Now, here we go. R.I.P. Moorish Science Temple. No more moronic lies. This is the PowerPoint, okay? All right, now, I said what I had to say to Noble Drew Ali to show my respect. We're going to move on, right? We established the fact that enslaved Africans in America were taught to love Jesus on the slave plantation. As long as you're black and love Jesus, you are psychologically still on the slave plantation, right? That the Holy Quran and the Moorish Holy Temple of Science incarcerate black minds in the Bible. We established, well, what did we establish? You say I don't show sources. What is this, you retard? It's called Slave Religion, the Invisible Institution in Antebellum South by Dr. Albert Jordy Roberto of Princeton University, graduated from Yale. And he quoted from the book An Historical Account of the Rise and Progress of Colonies in South Carolina in 1779 that Alexander Hewitt, the first historian for South Carolina and Georgia, who graduated Doctor of Divinity, University Edinburgh, England, he said in his book The Negroes of that country, South Carolina, the colony was considered a country at that time. A few only accepted are to this day as great strangers to Christianity. We established that the slaves on the plantation in the early antebellum South and the late antebellum South, the majority of them were strangers to Christianity and did not become Christians. We established that through documentation and sources, you retards. Okay? Here's the book, Slave Religion. If that's not a source, I don't know what to tell you. Okay? Dr. Albert J. Roberto, read the book, okay? An historical, not religious, a historical account of the rise and progress of the colonies of South Carolina and Georgia, volume 1 of 2, Alexander Hewitt. That is a source, stupid. All right, here you go. This is another source, because you see I didn't show sources. Slavery, Civil War, and Salvation by Dr. Daniel L. Fountain. African-American Slaves and Christianity, 1830 to 1870. The whole subject was on slaves and Christianity, you fool. Okay? Slavery, Civil War, and Salvation. African-American Slaves and Christianity, Part 1. Dr. Daniel L. Fountain, Associate Professor of History, Department Head, History, Political Science, Religious, Ethical Studies, Sociology, PhD. Okay? All right? Right here, in the book, Slavery, Civil War, and Salvation, he says, more precisely, my research into slave religious practices has forced me to consider the possibility that while most 19th century African-American slaves had some form of religious belief, they were not Christians. Okay? Slavery, Civil War, and Salvation, African-American slaves. That's page 3, introduction, second and third paragraph. Both right here. This is the third paragraph. That was the second paragraph. Here's the third paragraph. A qualitative survey presented in Chapter 1 found that only 38% of the slaves who left behind some form of narrative indicated they converted to Christianity prior to emancipation. Most slaves in the late antebellum South, in the antebellum period, were not Christians. There's your documentation and there's your source. PhD, you fool. Okay? Now, yeah, and I got to shout out my brother Reggie, because, look, all you got to do is go back and watch that debate. Sharif sounded good. Reggie's information trumped all of it, because what it established was that if you're trying to trace black people back to a Canaanite origin, you got to trace us back to a hybrid Neanderthal origin. Why would you do that when the data shows that Africans are the only people who are free of Neanderthal DNA? But we as African Americans can no longer make that claim, because we got 13% European in us. That's why some of us act as retarded as we act. But we ain't focused on that minimum. We focus on the majority of what we are. Niger Cordofanian, that's what we are. That's what we identify with in the effort to free our minds from that Neanderthal aspect in us. You feel me? That got in us through slavery. Okay? Here you go. Through rape and coonery. Here you go. So it's proved right there. 38% of the slaves who left behind some form of narrative indicated they converted to Christianity. We established what 38% was of 204. Altogether, in Henry Louis Gates Jr. article that I read, how many slave narratives were there? 100 amazing facts about the Negro, sizing up the genre from which an Oscar favorite originated. It's an article by Henry Louis Gates Jr., the Alphonse Fletcher University professor and director of the Hutchins Center for African American Research at Harvard University. He said, we can put an exact number out there of how many slave narratives were left. That's right. He said from the height of the slave trade to the end of the Civil War in 1865, 102 known book-length slave narratives were written, with another 102 written by former slaves after the war. That gives us 204. What is 38% of 204? 77.52. So we're going to say 78 slaves converted of the 204 slaves that left slave narratives. 38% of them, which is 77.52, converted to Christianity before they were freed. We found the 77.52. There they go. Okay? We're going to prove it. How did I prove it? I proved it yesterday. And you go into their own book. Stop saying I don't show sources. Everything I show is a goddamn source. You stupid moron. But if you're too stupid to recognize the source when I'm showing you the source, then you're just too stupid. Don't put it on me. I'm not going to take responsibility for your idiocy. All right, let's go. Fucking idiots, man. Unbelievable. So why? How do we know that they're the 77.52 slaves that converted to Christianity before the end of slavery? How do we know? Because if you go in their own book by Noble Drew Ali, He prepared it, because they always say he didn't author it. He prepared it so that he can't take responsibility for it, for the fuck-ups in it. Allah can't take responsibility for the fuck-ups in it, even though he says it was Allah that guided him in preparing it. See, Moors like to play with semantics. They don't want to say he authored it, so they want to say he prepared it. So therefore, everything right in it, they can attribute to him, but everything wrong in it, he could get on that magic carpet that Sarah Sutin said he talked about. He could escape free, so he ain't got to be responsible for the errors that we pointing out in it right now. And the thing is full of nothing but errors, because it ain't nothing but biblical fantasy. So we're gonna get back to your biblical bullshit. Here we are, right? How do we know that the feds, Jesus-loving weird Moors, are the ones who converted to Christianity at the end of slavery? In their book, it says the genealogy of in the prologue of the Holy Quran and the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, known as the Circle 7 Quran. Now hold on. Lord Abbott said, I'm giving misinformation. You fool. I didn't write this. How am I giving misinformation? This is from Noble Drew Ali. This is your Bible. This is your book. Don't tell me I'm giving misinformation. You a liar. I'll meet you anywhere, any day of the week, anytime. Anytime. Every last more, all of you together on one stage against me. All of you. No problem. I didn't write this. Noble Drew Ali wrote this. The genealogy, no, he didn't write it. He prepared it, gave it to y'all. Guided by Allah, the universal God. The genealogy of Jesus with 18 years of the events, life, works, and teachings in India, Europe, and Africa. Now, I didn't write this. He says, these events occurred before he was 30 years of age. Now, what did he say? These secret lessons are for all those who love Jesus. Did I tell you that the 77 slaves is right there? Who that book is for? The 38% of the 204 slaves that converted to slavery before the end of slavery, 77.52. In their own book, it says, these secret lessons are for all those who love Jesus. Look, we got nothing else to talk about that. You can't come to, like I said yesterday, you can't come to me with a fez and tell me that this is for me, because this book tells you who it's for. Hold on. It's for those who love Jesus.
Hold on, Shakka.
Yeah.
You saying you didn't type that? You sure you ain't typed that and put that there, brother?
I tell every last person, get yourself the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, also known as the Circle 7 Quran, prepared by Drew Ali. Go to the prologue right underneath the table of contents. You are going to see these words. It came straight out of their book. I didn't change one letter. I didn't change one period or add a comma. That's what's in their book. These feds, Jesus loving wearing, and they think they off the plantation. How you off the plantation and you're still trying to teach black people to love Jesus? You said that this book is for all those who love Jesus. The teachings are for all those who love Jesus. Well, I don't love Jesus, so then it's not for me. My family don't love Jesus. We free Africans. We gave the slave master back his teachings. So we don't love Jesus. That means your feds ain't for me and your Circle 7 Quran ain't for me. Your Moorish Science Temple of America cannot be for me because I don't love Jesus. I'm not caught up in that fear trap. I'm not fearing hell or burning in hell because I don't love Jesus. Y'all still caught up on that slave master's fairy tales and y'all trying to push it on us with a damn feds. And we ain't having it. Don't tell people I'm giving misinformation. I'm reading what's in the goddamn book. Fuck wrong with you? You crazy. Y'all just mad because some of the former slaves got their mind back, and that offends you. You are offended at the fact that we are completely sane, and it irks you. It irks you because then we got to destroy your costume. You feel me? You see, my lock don't come off. Y'all like to talk all this smack about my lock, but y'all like to wear them feds and talk about I'm a more. But when you go to work, like Sharif Bey brought that brother in who's doing all this good for the community, but I bet you he don't wear that feds to work. I bet you he don't wear that feds to work. He take it off, because when he go in there, he got to be a Jesus-loving nigga when he go in there. Now, I ain't mad at that, because sometimes you got to do what you got to do to make good things happen for the people. I ain't going to clap on nobody trying to make black people's situation better. But stop trying to front. Real talk. You heard? It is what it is. There go them Jesus-loving Moors right there. And that's the one right there who prepared the book, Noble Jew Ali, who said the secret teachings in his book are for all those who love Jesus. So now you looking at, now you know where that white boy is right there in the middle. You see him? Right? And probably a few other ones. Right? So now you know why all of these people here love Jesus. You looking at Jesus loving Negroes who think they doing something different on the plantation. Why they wearing pharaonic headwear? Pharaohs didn't love Jesus. Ancient Egyptians did not love Jesus. Okay? No, they didn't. They rejected Christianity and Islam. Okay? Yes. I'll show you the documentation. Here you go. For all these secret teachings, what did that say, son? That are for who?
Are for who loves Jesus.
Are for what? All of those who love Jesus. Did I lie? Am I lying?
No, sir.
It's in there. Okay? We're going to move. They're proof they love Jesus. Right here. If they don't love Jesus, they love Abraham. Look, the Moorish Zionist Temple of the Moorish Jews. 127 West 137th Street. These Moors, it don't matter which Moor you dealing with. The Jesus-loving Moors or the Abraham Moses-loving Moors. They're lost black people. It don't matter. They're still on the slave plantation because they're still in that goddamn Bible. They still licking King James balls. You understand what I'm saying? Real talk. And if they're not licking his, then they're kissing Mordecai's butt. You feel me? Bunch of Torah carrying. I mean, come on, give me a break. Are you serious? Come on, man. Nah. And they always got that American flag behind them. The Moors in love with that American flag. Raped, lynched, castrated us in the name of that flag. But these Moors suck that flag like they suck Jesus. Straight up. I want to show some respect because I'm in my brother's house. You heard? Here you go. Now, is it really about Noble Jew Ali? It's not about Noble Jew Ali. I established that yesterday. Why? Because we got to know who was guiding Noble Jew Ali. I established that yesterday. Who was guiding Noble Jew Ali? Can they be trusted? In his own book, the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, it says, by the guiding of his father, God Allah, the great God of the universe. So what do we learn from that sentence? That Noble Jew Ali was being guided by Allah, and that whoever wrote that felt that Allah was the great God of the universe. Okay? So now, we're going to find out. So it's not, can we trust Noble Jew Ali? Right. Can we trust who was guiding him? Allah. So we got to say, well, hold up. We got to do the 411 on Allah. Who, what, when, where, Allah. This is how you do research. You don't get stuck in one area. That's why you're still wearing them feathers, because you stuck. But I'm going to unstick you. Okay? Here you go. Who, what, when, where, Allah. That's wrong. You got to ask it correct. Where, when, what, who, Allah. We established yesterday, most people think Allah comes from Arabia, or that Allah comes from the Levant, where Canaan was, where Palestine is, right? They think this is where Allah comes from, or this part of Arabia, the Hijaz. They think this is where Islam or Allah come from. It don't come from none of that. Allah come from here. Assyria, Akkad, Sumer, Babylon. Okay? This is where our Persians over here, Iran. Allah come from here. Right here. This is where Allah come from. Mesopotamia, the land between the two rivers, between the Tigris and the Euphrates. This is where Allah comes from, and we're going to prove it. Okay? Here you go. It said it again. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Why did I say that? Right? Because again, where's Canaan? Canaan is right here. The Levant. Okay? Here's Africa, here's Egypt, here's the Levant. Here's Babylon, Mesopotamia, Sumer, Babylon, Assyria. All right? This is where Allah comes from. So if we came from there, then why are we worshiping Allah as the universal God? Well, Allah come from here. So what are you not telling us about your Mesopotamian connection? You ain't got no African connection, so we got to find out about your Mesopotamian connection. That's what's up. Allah's Sumerian birth certificate. We went to this man, Dr. Thorkin Peter Rudolph Jacobson, PhD. The top source. That's the man that wrote the book on everything Sumerian. Linguistics, etymology, poetry, Sumerian poetry. In fact, here's his book. He's a PhD. There he is right there. He's the #1 dude in it. PhD, Oriental Institute, University of Chicago. He was the head of the University of Chicago Institute of Archaeology. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Because you cannot find one more.
Okay.
Now one more can read and write ancient Sumerian. Not one. I don't care. I didn't say 2 or 3 or 4. Lord Abba cannot. Alim Bey cannot. And I'm telling you, I don't even know these brothers. I can tell you they do not read and write ancient Sumerian. I'm sorry, they don't. Nor can they translate it.
Okay.
So you got to go to the people that can.
Right.
If you were barred from the university, why are you not going to take advantage of the people who weren't barred from the university? You got to remember, African people in this country have a 300-year deficit when it comes to education. Why? Because we were barred from it. In fact, it's longer than that. We actually got a 2,000-year deficit when it comes to education. So we playing catch up. It's longer than the 300 years that they didn't allow us to read and write in this country. It's longer than that. Or 200 years, however long it was. It's 2,000 years. They put out the light 2,000 years. Don't show me Timbuktu and them Africans being brainwashed by the Arabs, even though we had better African scholars in Timbuktu that were Muslim. I know that. But I'm not talking about that. I'm saying our light got put out 2,000 years ago. You got to go back and turn it on from that far. So we got to play catch up. You don't play catch up with the people who were not allowed in the university to study this Sumerian stuff. Alim Bey and Lord Abba and them, they ain't got PhDs in ancient Sumerian language and Akkadian etymology. You got to study the people who are the experts on the situation. And where they're wrong, do your own primary research and then correct them. But I know the process, baby. It's called comparative research, so we ain't going to get stuck. That's what Moors are good at doing, getting stuck. We keeping it moving. There's his work right there. The Hearts That Once. Thorkild Jacobson. Look his name up. Thorkild Jacobson. He is considered the best in the subject matter. Matter of fact, here it is right here. Look at the bottom. Read the article on it from the University of Chicago. His critical edition of the Sumerian King List is still, and it's still the definitive edition. It was published in 1939, and it is still, in 2016, the definitive edition. His translations of Sumerian poetry, his translations. Lord Abba, are you translating ancient Sumerian? Are you translating ancient Assyrian? Are you translating ancient Akkadian? You know the etymology of all that? If so, bring it. We listening. You heard? Here you go. Right here, his translation of Sumerian poetry and his explanations of the intricacies of the Sumerian verbal system illumined these areas with fresh ideas. They couldn't even translate the stuff without his input. Come on, man. And you know why they can't come at me with why I'm only using white scholars? Because they tell you white means pure.
That's right.
Right? I'm not going to a black scholar because you say black mean death.
Woo!
That's what you said. Y'all say white mean pure. So I'm going to take you to a white scholar.
Right, take them to the pure, baby.
Okay, there you go. It is what it is.
To the pure.
I'm going to beat you with your own shit. You heard? There you go. That's his book. Okay, and in the back of his book, when you go through the content, all you gotta do is type in the word Allah and see how many times there is a God named Allah, a deity named Allah, who is constantly mentioned in Sumerian poetry. This predates the Akkadian and the Assyrian, but I'm gonna show you how they took it and to another level. Watch. Allah, owner of the net. Allah, owner of the net. This is from Songs of the Mother's Search, the Damu text, the Damusi text. This is from the Sumerian Damusi text. Allah is mentioned. The God Allah, who's part of the Damusi cycle, the Damu cycle of gods, is mentioned in the Sumerian poetry. Why they don't tell you that? Hold on, we're gonna find out why. In the same breath with other gods. That's why. Hold on. The lad Damu, the lad, the child Ningishisa, the lad Ishtaran. Whoa, the lad Allah, owner of the net. Hold on. We're going to find out about this Allah. Trust me. Here he is again. Enki, full form, God of fresh water. Allah, same as such and such. Page 491. Page 489. They mention Allah again, 489? Nah. So we keep it moving. Here we go. This is Ben Alster. Studied Assyriology at the University of Copenhagen. He studied also at Harvard University, studied with Thorkild Jacobson, the same guy who I just showed you a moment ago, who's the authority on the ancient Sumerian text. Okay? This is one of his students. Here you go. Y'all think it's a game. Hey, yo, why my thing ain't working? Oh, here you go. Here you go. Right? He studied with Thorkel Jacobson. Right here, Ben Alster ranks among the most significant Sumerologists of the past half century. Okay? You heard that? He ranks among the most significant Sumerologists of the past half century. So let's look at his book, Death in Mesopotamia, edited by Ben Alster, PhD. Here we go. Because y'all say I don't show sources. All I show is sources. I've shown nothing but sources. In the back of his book, page 63, when you go through the content, it says, there is a consistently male deity, Allah. You see, when y'all talking about this God, Allah, you can't start with the Quran. They always talking about pagans, that the Arabs used to be pagans before they became Muslim, and that Allah was a pagan God. But they don't tell you what pagan God this Allah belonged to. They don't tell you what pagan people, supposed so-called pagan people, this Allah belonged to. I'm showing you right now. This is the part they never talk about. Okay? Here you go. It says right here, there is a consistently male deity, Allah, written either syllabically, blah, 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 blah. Then it says right here, the bilingual creation myth, K-A-R, and duplicates has the Allah gods. So Allah was mentioned just like the Elohim, right? They say God Elohim is plural, or God Elo is a singular, depending on how it's said, right? It's the same thing, because what you're going to find out later is that Allah is nothing but a variation of Elo, and Elo is nothing but a variation of Allah, because it's all coming from the same Mesopotamian region. Okay? Here you go. A late exposition of the ritual for reskinning a ritual drum equates Allah with Ansar as one of the 7 conquered Enlils. Who are the Enlils? Uh-oh. When you start dealing with the Enlils, right, you're dealing with what? Sumerian iconography, Sumerian cosmology, Sumerian cosmogony. All right? Allah looks very such and such. Right here, number 21, text Allah. So they're talking about a deity named Allah, not in Islam, but in Mesopotamia. Death in Mesopotamia. You see that? Death in Mesopotamia. That's the name of the book, edited by Dr. Ben Alster, PhD. Look it up. Go get it. The link is on the bottom. Don't say I don't post sources, because you're a liar. Here you go. Here's the book right here. See how much the book costs? See how much that book costs? How much that book costs? How much that book costs, Alnetta?
$476.
So you got to do is spend $476. $500 for that book.
That's right.
That's a $500 book. That's why y'all don't know where Allah come from, because they're keeping it a secret. $500 book. You heard? $500. That's why you don't know where Allah come from. Death in Mesopotamia. And all they're talking about is not death in Arabia, not death in Canaan, in the Levant, but in Mesopotamia. Where's Mesopotamia? That's the land between the 2 rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. Do you know where that is? You GPS challenge motherfuckers. All right, here we go. Boom. Uh-oh. The Sumerian king list and the well-blundered collection. Y'all ready to go? Y'all thought y'all hated me before? After this, I'll guarantee you, after this, you're going to hate me more than Seti. You're going to hate me more than Polite. You're going to hate me more than Reggie. You're going to hate me more than all of them. And there's a reason why y'all come after me the way y'all come after me. I know why. Because you know, above all these motherfuckers, ain't nobody bringing you what I'm bringing you. And that's no disrespect to my brothers. Because Seti is no joke. Reggie is no joke. Polite is no joke. But you see, I had to earn this lock on my head. I had to go through some things that y'all don't know nothing about. You will never know anything about until you come across to this side. Then you can earn the right to wear this. But when I'm done with you, you're going to hate me more than all of them put together. You will never be able to mention the name Allah in the black community again without them checking you. Believe me, when I'm done. Wesley Muhammad, Ali Muhammad, are you African? Allah is Africa, Islam is African. Well, we going to find out. Because y'all always debunk Shakka Ahmose. All right, we're going to find out. I want you to debunk this. Okay? Debunk this. Here we go. The Sumerian king list and the well-blundered collection. Checking Allah's pedigree and credentials. The Sumerian king list is a cuneiform document written by a scribe of the city of Lagash sometime around 2100 BCE, which lists all of the kings of the region and their accomplishments in an attempt to show continuity of order in society dating back to the beginning of civilization. Okay? So this is a Sumerian effort at writing world history. And it's not on paper. It's cut into stone. Okay? This is from the source, because you say I don't show sources. Ancient History Encyclopedia. Professor Joshua J. Mark, M.A., Marist College, co-founder, editor, director, and contributor of Ancient History Encyclopedia. Recipient of the Faculty of the Year Award. In other words, he was the top professor in his college for that year. Okay? Here we go. On the Sumerian king list, from the same article, 2 sources, WB. Now, I hope y'all can follow me now, because this is not for stupid people. I don't do stuff for stupid people. I do stuff for the intelligent people that actually want to learn, know, and free their minds. And when I'm doing it, you better pay attention. Because when I show you, ain't nobody ever going to show you again. Because if they did, if they would have showed you, they would have showed you by now. So I don't want to hear people crying, other scholars talking about, oh, Shakka. Because other scholars be crying too when I blow them out the water. They do. They don't like that. They want to show you, they want to act like they know what I know and that they knew what I knew. But if they did, they would have showed you before I did. So I want you to show me what scholar, name one scholar, that's any scholar that's ever been on the House of Consciousness that has showed you what I'm going to show you today. Okay? Name one. Not 2, not 3, not 4. Just one scholar other than me that's going to show you what I'm showing you today. Here we go. Okay? Of the Sumerian king list, 2 sources, WB, are a part of the Weld Blundell collection, donated by Herbert Weld Blundell to the Ashmolean Museum. WB62, now pay attention, dumb Moors. WB62 is a small clay tablet inscribed only on the obverse, unearthed from Larsa. It is the oldest dated source containing the list. Uh-oh. So now what this means, because y'all stupid, I got to break shit down for you. The white man, them feathers are too tight on your head. That Circle 7 Jesus loving Quran got your head all messed up to the point where you can't even understand historical facts. Primary sources in your motherfucking face. In your mother Fez face. Okay? In your mother Fez face. Y'all can't even, all y'all understand is the religious hocus pocus magic carpet crap that Reggie, that Sarah Suit and Seti, the general, accused y'all, rightly so, of trying to scapegoat all the time. You can't escape this stone, my brother. Like when we deal with the pyramid text, we go to the stone, primary sources. Guess what? Now we're going back to the stone, primary sources. Okay? What does it say? It is the oldest dated source contained in the list. So when you're dealing with the Sumerian king list, the oldest source you can go to is this right here, the WB62 tablet. Come on, get with me. Get with me. You want to see real scholarship? I ain't got to get on a plane and go to wherever to rock your world. This is what rocks your world. This lock is what rocks your world. This African blood flowing through my vein is what's going to rock your world. So let's rock our world. Let's continue. Here we go. Right? There you go. Cuneiform tablet. Oh, what is it? Here we go. What is this we are looking at? This is a cuneiform tablet with the Atra Hassis epic in the British Museum. Now, what is this? What is the Atra Hassis epic? Because that's what's on here. And it's what contains the oldest source for the Sumerian king list in cuneiform. Because y'all love to talk all this cuneiform stuff. Y'all thought I was only Kemet? Y'all thought I only knew about ancient Kemet? Y'all don't know me too well. I do this. It's called scholarship. Oh, and Bebe with the fez. Bebe with the tassel. Call yourself the Harker Bay. You told me to get my scholarship up? It's going to be so up right now, you're going to get a crook in your neck from looking up. You're going to be looking up like this. You're going to get a permanent crook in your neck since you want to talk shit to a real scholar. Okay? To a bona fide scholar. Here we go. All right? WB62 and the Epic of Atra Hassis, checking Allah's credentials. Now, hold on. If we're checking Allah's credentials, why are we going outside of the Quran? Because this is much older than the Quran. You understand? Much older. The Quran is what? 6th century BCE? It ain't even really that old. They pretend like it's that old, but it's not. It's actually much later. 13th, 14th century CE. Feel me? Probably later than that. 19th century, 20th century. Come on, man. Right? Y'all playing games, man. Here we go. But I ain't come to play games. I came to end it. That's why you fear me so much. That's why you got to play the gay games. As long as you can tell people or try to convince people that Shakka is a homosexual, then they're not going to pay attention to my scholarship. That's what your little faggot games is all about.
Right, right.
But let me just say it for the record. I don't do momo. I don't do homo. I don't do that. For those who choose to do that, that's their choice. They live in their life. All right? We live in a time where everybody can live their life. It's between them and God. I could care less who the next man is doing. You feel me? I deal with strictly women. I got a wife, I got a fiance, and maybe a mistress or two at any given moment. And I'm not ashamed to say it.
They do that because they can't.
You understand? They
They
can't fuck with the scholarship.
That's what it is.
You understand?
Go in, go in.
And the type of woman I get, you clowns could never get. Ever. Ever. You got to look at them in movies and TV and see them on billboards. Fool. Here you go. Let's rock. Here you go. Let's rock it. The After the Hasis is the Akkadi. The After the Hasis. We're going to find out what's on this stone. See it? I want you to don't ever forget that stone as long as you live. Because every time somebody brings up Allah, I want you to bash him in the head with that stone, figuratively speaking, not literally. I don't promote violence. I don't think violence is healthy for anybody unless it's necessary. And when it's necessary, you better come on and capable. You feel me? Stay ready. Stay ready. Keep that thing. All right? Keep a few of them things. Now, here we go. Right? Right there. This is the After the Hasis inscribed on the WB62 stone. That's why it's called, because y'all going to say I ain't show no sources. Why is it called WB, class? Because it was donated by, right here. It's called, two sources are part of the Weld Blundell collection. WB, Weld, everybody repeat after me. Weld Blundell. Donated by Herbert Weld Blundell to the Ashmolean Museum. That's why it's called WB62. It's named after the man that donated it to the Ashmolean Museum. Okay? Now we're going to find out what it is. The Atra Hasis is the, I'm going to be checking Allah's credentials. For all you Allah heads out here, that's what we're doing right now. We checking Allah's credentials. Because Allah is the one who guided Noble Jew Ali in preparing the Circle 7 Quran. So we got to find out the source. Y'all say I don't give sources. That's all we doing right now is fact checking your sources. So we fact checking Allah right now. Okay? Let's get it on. Here we go. With no disrespect. No disrespect. Everybody's entitled to worship their gods. But we need to know who your God is. That's all. Where he came from. Here you go. The Atra Hasis is the Akkadian Babylonian epic of the Great Flood sent by the gods to destroy human life. Okay, hold on. So that means we got a flood story that predates the Bible and the Quran and all that other stuff. Here we go. The Atra Hasis is the Akkadian Babylonian epic of the Great Flood sent by the gods to destroy human life. Only the good man Atra Hasis, his name translates as exceedingly wise, was warned of the impending deluge by the god Yah. And that's pronounced Yah, by the way. See, all these gods, they want you to think that they're worshiping, they want you to think of different gods. They're not. They're the same God, just spelled differently. That's all. That is pronounced Yah. Okay? Okay? Who instructed him to build an ark to save himself. After the Hasis, yeah, for you Hebrews, by the way, who want to know where your God Yah, God is one of the sources of the God Yah. It's from right there. Okay? Who instructed him to build an ark to save himself. After the Hasis heeded the words of the God, loaded 2 of every kind of animal into the ark, and so preserved human and animal life on earth. So now you know where the ark story came from with 2 of every animal. It came from the epic of After the Hasis. Okay? There it is, right there in stone. You can't argue with that, Hebrew Israelites. This is where your story about Noah and the 2 animals of each kind came from. This right here. There was no Noah story. There was no what is that book? There was no book of Genesis when it existed. There was no book of Exodus when it existed. And Noah is in the Genesis story, ain't he? Yeah, Noah's in Genesis. So I got bad news for you. There was no Genesis when this flood story existed, with After the Hasis being told by God to get 2 of each animal and put them on his ark. It's right there. Look, I'll read it again. And it was used, they used the exact word ark. The Atrahasis heeded the words of the God, Yah, loaded 2 of every kind of animal into the ark, and so preserved human and animal life on earth. Tezoria, you're not just plagiarizing Egyptian stuff, you're plagiarizing Mesopotamian shit too. Y'all just stole everybody's shit and trying to think you're coming at us with something original. Nah, bro, the slaves can read now. The former slaves can read now, bro. That's why they didn't want us to learn how to read. Because we was going, like Khalid Muhammad said, may he live forever. We going to lift up your Hebrew Israelite skirt and see what's up under there. You feel me? We're going to see why Abraham would put your hand on his thigh next to his groin. It's faggotry stuff. Here we go. Written down in the mid-17th century BCE. So now, in the mid-17th century BCE, was there a book of Genesis? No, there was not. Was there a Bible anywhere? No, there was no Hebrew Bible. There was no Christian Bible in the mid-17th century BCE. It did not exist anywhere on planet Earth, and they can't show you one. Not one book of the Bible. So this story about an ark with 2 animals of each kind predates anything these Hebrews want to talk about. As far as their stuff is, now you know where they got it from. Zion Lion Lex. Y'all got all this stuff to talk about, and you know what? This is probably why Zion Lex wants to always say Sumeria predates Egypt. Nah, whatever. We already know it don't. I proved that it don't. But now we're going to see where y'all got your stuff from. Why y'all claiming all your Hebrew stuff is original when we already see it written down in the epic of Atrahasis? Why you not teaching your congregation about the epic of the Atrahasis, about how they got a flood story that predates yours, where somebody was on the ark and got 2 animals of each kind? It seems like your God keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Making a flood, telling somebody to get 2 animals of each kind. What's his problem? Your God got issues. Maybe he need to find a good plumber or something. Here we go. All right. Written down in the mid-17th century BCE, the Atrahasis can be dated by the colophon to the reign of the Babylonian king Hammurabi's great-grandson, Ammi-Saduqa, 1646 to 1626 BCE. Though the tale itself is considered much older, passed down through oral transmission. You say I don't show sources, right? Professor Joshua J. Mark, Marist College, co-founder, editor, director, and contributor of Ancient History Encyclopedia. Google it. Ancient History Encyclopedia. Recipient of the Faculty of the Year Award. Here you go. Because I don't show sources, lying asses. Here you go. Now you're going to say, well, Shakka, you didn't show us the source of your translation of the Epic of Atrahasis. Here it is. Plate 6. The Well Bundle Collection, Volume 2. Oxford edition of cuneiform text, Volume 2. Historical inscriptions containing principally the chronological prism, WB 44. Edited under the direction of S. Langdon, M.A., Professor of Assyriology, Oxford University Press, 1923. This is the source of the translation. It's from this book, and it's a very big book, called the Oxford Edition of Cuneiform Text, Volume 2, Historical Inscriptions containing principally the chronological prism WB 44. That is the source for the translation of WB 62 with the Epic of Atrahasis, where it talks about the flood story and the ark and him getting 2 of each animal and putting them on his ark. The story where the Hebrews stole their story from. Okay? Here you go. This is the source of the translation. Chaldean kings before the flood. It even had the kings list in it. All right, here you go. Fools. Dr. Stephanie Daly, PhD. Yeah, we're going to check Allah's credentials in a way you ain't never seen them before. Assyriology, BA, Cambridge University, 1962 to 66. This woman is no joke, okay? Assyriology, PhD, School of Oriental and African Studies, London. Fellowship, British School of Archaeology in Iraq, 1966 to 1967. Taught Akkadian and, she taught Akkadian and Sumerian at the Oriental Institute, Oxford University, as a Shaleto Senior Research Fellow in 1988. Now you're going to tell me that Lord Abba, Ali Bey, Ali Muhammad, all these big time scholars. Now, this woman, Dr. Stephanie Daly, PhD. Now this woman is no joke. I gotta say it for the camera. Assyriology, BA BA, Cambridge University. Assyriology PhD, School of Oriental and African Studies, London. Fellowship, British School of Archaeology in Iraq, 1966 to 1967. Taught Akkadian and Sumerian at the Oriental Institute, Oxford University as a Shaleto Senior Research Fellow in 1988. Now you telling me Lord Abba, Alim Bey, and Ali Muhammad, Mr. Temple University, you're going to tell me they can actually teach Akkadian? And Wesley Muhammad at Michigan State, you'll teach Akkadian and Sumerian at the Oxford University level? You're that good? Okay, no problem. She was the honorary senior research fellow, Somerville College. This is a quote from her. For my thesis, I worked on a royal archive written on clay nearly 4,000 years ago, which I helped to dig up in northern Iraq. Being faced with the new text fresh from the ground is hugely exciting, and it was a great opportunity at that stage of life. She is considered, along with Thorkett, she is considered one of the top scholars on the planet when it comes to Assyriology, which includes the study of Akkadian language and Sumerian. All right, these are the top. Now, how come? Now, hold on. When Zion Lion Lex came, I got to call him what he is, right? When Zion Lex and Professor Smalls should have not have tried to stop me from tearing him a new one, because you see the disrespect he showed to the elder. You feel me? Now you getting that spanking. All of you cats that have my name in your mouth, want to make videos about me on YouTube, like I don't have children. Y'all don't care if I got kids. Y'all don't care if I got a wife. Y'all put whatever you want to say about me on YouTube. I attack y'all with scholarship. All y'all ever want to do is talk about my personal life that you know nothing about. You ain't never been in my home. You feel me? You ain't never met none of my family members. You don't know nothing about me. So you got to speculate so that people can't pay attention to the facts that I'm showing them. Y'all clowns to me, man. All of you. That's why I don't deal with you no more. You know why I walked away from Zion Lex when we was at the fair? Because dude ain't on my level. He ain't got the privilege of getting with me in front of the camera no more. Now, I don't respect you, not as a scholar. Not as a scholar. And I barely respect you as a man because of the way you move, threatening people with violence because they disrespecting your so-called scholarship. What you going to disrespect the brother Garfield for? So you going to beat him up or attack him because he said something you didn't like. Grow up, man. Either you want to be a gangster or you want to be a scholar. If you want to be a gangster, stay away from us. We trying to teach the people. You feel me? Go bang on that cracker since you're such a gangster. Real talk. You know? So here we go. How come Zion Lex, he was talking all that Sumerian stuff in the debate? Why he didn't mention Stephanie Daly? She's one of the top ones. Why he didn't mention Thorkild? He is the top. Why he didn't mention Bit, who studied with Thorkild? All the top Sumerian scholars that I'm showing you, none of these guys who've been talking about ancient Sumer and Mesopotamia being older than Egypt, none of them mention these scholars. But these are the best. You can't go above them. I'm going to say it again. You can't go above them. So how come you supposed to, come on, man, y'all clowns to me, man. I can't respect y'all as scholars. No. Come on, man. Y'all just want to get with me to get a name. Oh, I know Shakka Ahmose. I debated him. So come on, please. Y'all don't get that privilege no more. Because y'all got to earn it. Now I understand what Polite was talking about. I used to think Polite was being big-headed when he was talking about you got to earn the right to debate me. Yo, Brother Polite, I apologize because now I see where you was coming from. Nah, you can't debate me no more. You got to earn it. You ain't going to get in front of the camera with me. And if you threaten me, you better live up to the threat. Real talk. Okay? Here you go. Because I don't play that threat shit. I ain't never threatened nobody a day in my life and didn't live up to what I said. You feel me? Here you go. Miss from Mesopotamia. This is Dr. Stephanie Daly, the woman I just showed you. You see all that? You see all this scholarship, all these credentials. Assyriology, BA, Cambridge University, 1962 to 66. Assyriology, PhD, School of Oriental and African Studies, London. Fellowship, British School of Archaeology in Iraq, 1966 to 67. Taught Akkadian and Sumerian at the Oriental Institute, Oxford University, as a Shaleto Senior Research Fellow, 1988. Honorary Senior Research Fellow, Somerville College. Okay? This woman was digging up the stuff that you're too stupid to even read about. We're going to check Allah's credentials. Today, you blocking my thing, bro. Here we go. Get this book. It's called Myths from Mesopotamia. Creation, the Flood, Gilgamesh, and others. Translated with an introduction and notes by Stephanie Daly. There she is. I'm bringing you the top-notch stuff. I'm not bringing you that clown stuff. We're going to check Allah's credentials. I hope all of you watching. Hope all you Allah heads are watching. And I call you by name. Ali Muhammad, Wesley Muhammad. Because Ali Muhammad like to say, oh, Allah is African. Islam is African. Well, we're going to see today. He better produce something older than what I'm showing. Because if you can't, you've been checked. Okay? All of you. Babyface Imam Bashir. Right? All of you Allah heads. I'm coming at all of you. Here you go. I told you I could take all of you at once with no help. I don't need a team. I am the team. I rock with the ancestors, the African ancestors. That's the team. You feel me? Here you go. Only team I need. World Classics, Myths from Mesopotamia, Creation, The Flood, Gilgamesh, and Others. A new translation by Stephanie Daly. Now she's top of the line. Publisher's Commentary. Now this is the publisher's commentary. And who's the publisher? Oxford World Classics. You heard of Oxford University? Oxford World Classics. Here we go. Publisher's commentary. Recent developments in Akkadian grammar and lexicography mean that this new translation, complete with notes, a glossary of deities, place names, and key terms, and illustrations of the mythical monsters featured in the text, will what? Replace all other versions. Students and scholars. All right. From where? The commentary? Yeah. Okay. Now, Myths from Mesopotamia, Creation, The Flood, Gilgamesh, and Others. Translated with the introduction and notes by Dr. Stephanie Daly. I just showed you who she is. What? So y'all can take, you're already, matter of fact, some of y'all done went on Facebook, found my wife's Facebook page, and made a video with her and my son's picture in it. So why you talking all this homo shit? Y'all contradict yourselves. All right, here we go. Oh, man, now you distracted me, man. That's cold, man. That fool look good. Okay, here we go. I'll tease it. Here we go. All right. Here we go. All right. So now we're going to keep it moving. All right. Here we go again for the third time. Dr. Stephanie Daly, PhD. This woman is no joke. I said it again. I'm going to say it again. Assyriology, BA, Cambridge University, 62 to 66. Assyriology, PhD, School of Oriental and African Studies, London. Fellowship, British School of Archaeology in Iraq, 1966 to 1967, the year I was born. Taught Akkadian and Sumerian at the Oriental Institute, Oxford University, as a Shaleto Senior Research Fellow, 1988. Honorary Senior Research Fellow, Somerville College. Sound like she got a hell of a pedigree, don't she? Hellified pedigree, right? A quote from her. For my thesis, I worked on a royal archive written on clay nearly 4,000 years ago. She worked on the whole archive, right? Which I helped to dig up in northern Iraq. Being faced with new texts fresh from the ground is hugely exciting, and it was a great opportunity at that stage of life. Dr. Stephanie Daly is probably the top Assyriologist on the planet, okay? Reads and writes Akkadian, Sumerian, and taught it at the Oriental Institute, Oxford University. Not at Bronx Community College. Not even at Michigan State. You feel me? Come on, man. Y'all dealing with real scholarship here. I know it's, look, here's the thing. Most people don't respect black people enough to introduce them to real scholarship. They want to tell y'all shit that sounds good because they want a cheering section. They don't want to say, hey, look, these are the actual facts. I'm going to bust my ass for you. I'm going to research for you. I'm not going to party. I'm not going to hang out. I'm not going to go to the movies. I'm not going to go to clubs. I'm just going to research so my people can be furnished with accurate shit. They're not going to do that for you because that takes a special kind of love and respect. I love my people. I respect my people. Y'all piss me off with all your ignorance, but I understand the ignorant will always be with us. So that's something I got to accept. But we're going to move it right along. This is Dr. Daly's book. I strongly suggest you get it. You can download the PDF. Myths from Mesopotamia, Creation, The Flood, Gilgamesh, and Others. Translated with an introduction and notes by Stephanie Daly. All right? Publisher's commentary. That's by Oxford World's Class. Now, let's read the publisher's commentary because you got to understand how important this book is when we checking Allah's credentials. Publisher's commentary. Recent developments in Akkadian grammar and lexicography mean that this new translation, complete with notes, a glossary of deities, place names and key terms and illustrations of the mythical monsters featured in the text will do what, Sanetta? Will replace all other versions. That means y'all can't deal with any other translations of the Atrahasis Hadith other than this. Because all the other ones are obsolete. They're outdated translations. This is the one you got to go to. Now, who's the readership for? Students and scholars. Hebrew Israelites are not students, they are not scholars, so it's not for them. Moors are not students and they are not scholars. This is not for them. You understand? This is for students and scholars in a series.
It's not for religious people?
It's not for religious people. This is for students and scholars in Assyriology, ancient Near Eastern history, comparative literature, ancient Old Testament studies, anthropology, classics, okay, and the general reader. So y'all guess y'all can get in on it too. So here we go. Because that's what y'all, matter of fact, y'all ain't even general readers. If y'all were general readers, y'all would know the shit that I know. Y'all too stuck in one book. That's why you only know one thing. Because you stuck in the Bible if you're a Hebrew Israelite. You stuck in a Quran if you're a Muslim. You stuck in a Bible if you're a Christian or a Jew. You stuck in the Holy Seven Circle Jesus-loving Quran if you're a Hebrew Israelite. I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm good. Let me rock. I feel you. You feel me? And that's what it is, baby, because we on fire right here. Real talk. You getting that work. Lord Abba, you ain't got to debate me. You getting that work right now. And stop telling people I'm giving misinformation. Hey, how is it misinformation if I'm reading directly from the source, fool? Come on. You sound stupid. I'm giving misinformation.
Go in.
Come on, man. Y'all sound stupid. At least start to sound intelligent. At least. Baby with the feds. I'm giving misinformation. Well, we're going to see. Here you go. The Atrahasis, Tablet 1, Old Babylonian version. Translated by Dr. Stephanie Daly, PhD, Oxford University. Here you go. You're going to love this, bro. You're going to want to witness this because of history in the making. Here you go. Now, when I'm going to do something very special, I gotta say this before I do it. I'm about to read the entire Atrahasis to you because I want you to see. I'm about to read this tablet right here. The Atrahasis, remember? Written during the 17th century BCE. There's no Quran. They always tell you that Allah was worshipped by pagans, but they don't tell you who the pagans were. To find out who the pagans were, you got to go back to Mesopotamia. You got to go back to the land between the Tigris and Euphrates. They're talking about ancient Sumer. They're talking about ancient Akkad, ancient Assyria, ancient Babylon. Those were the pagans they were talking about, who were worshiping Allah, because Allah was their God. Now you're going to see where Allah came from. And I'm going to prove it beyond a shadow of any doubt, because that's why I earned my lot. You feel me? Here we go. Yo, your game is over. It's over. You heard? We done already blew up Jesus. Jesus is real, and I'm coming back for him too. You thought you ain't know? I promised did I promise you one on Christianity?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, y'all didn't know? I never did one on Christianity yet. They've been keeping me so busy with all of the hard stuff, they didn't let me get to the fun stuff. Wait till I come for Christianity. Y'all gonna lose your minds. Here we go. So I'm about to read the entire Atrahasis to you because you got to see what these crackers been hiding from you. You got to see what these Arabs been hiding from you. But the Arabs ain't hiding from you. They just don't know. And the ones who do know, make sure that they hide it. Okay? Because Islam is all they got. They ain't got nothing else. Islam, and they got Islam and they got oil. That's it. Here we go. Okay? And I'm not disrespecting Islam. I'm not saying anything bad about Islam. I'm not saying anything bad about Allah. What I am talking about are those people in the black community who mislead and miseducate and misguide black people about their religions because they don't know anything about their religion. They think they know something about their religion. They hear Elijah Muhammad talking, and so they fall in love with Allah. They hear Farrakhan, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, they hear him talking, and they fall in love with Allah. They hear Noble Drew Ali talking about Allah, where it all came from. That's where they all got it from. They hear Noble Drew talking about Ali. They hear Noble Drew Ali talking about Allah, and they all fall in love with Allah and the Quran and Islam. But they don't know what Noble Drew Ali did not know. Noble Drew Ali was the descendant of former slaves just like us. He came from a people that were made ignorant, deaf, dumb, and blind just like us. But somebody had to come, little old me, somebody had to come and open your eyes. I got to pull my people off all of the slave plantations. Off the Arab slave plantation, because they enslaved us for 1,000 years. And I got to pull you off the Christian plantation. And I got to pull you off all the plantations. The Hebrew Israelite plantation too. I got to pull you off the Jewish plantation. My job, that's what I came here for. To free you. Now you can either stay free, you can get free, or you can stay a slave. But you can never say I didn't show you or tell you. No, you can never say I didn't show you, because I'm about to show you. So here we go. I'm about to read the entire Atra Hasis. Pay attention. Ain't nobody ever done this for y'all before, and ain't nobody gonna do it for you again in the future. I'm doing it for you. Your brother Shakka Ahmose. Here we go. And Sarnet is bringing it to you on Sarnet TV. Now you wanna know why black media is important? Because this is the only place on the planet you're gonna get this. Alright, here you go. The Atra Hasis tablet, number 1. The old Babylonian version, translated by Dr. Stephanie Daly, PhD, Oxford University. Now we're going to check Allah's credentials. Here we go. When the gods, instead of man, did the work, bore the loads, the gods' load was too great, the work too hard, the trouble too much. The great Anunnaki made the Igigi carry the workload sevenfold. Now, the great Anunnaki are the primordial gods in Sumerian cosmology. The great Anunnaki created other gods to do work. Okay? You got to remember this. These other gods are called the Igigi. The great Anunnaki made the Igigi carry the workload sevenfold. What was the workload? The workload was creation, creating. This is Sumerian cosmology. This is Akkadian, Sumerian, Mesopotamian cosmology.
You don't know when you step.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's dark.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right. So, put it back here. We're going to continue on. All right. The great Anunnaki made the Igigi carry the workload sevenfold. Anu, their father, was king. So Anu was the great god of the Anunnaki. Okay. Anu, their father, was king. Their counselor warrior, Elil. Their chamberlain was Ninurta. Their canal controller, Inugi. They took the box of lots, cast the lots, the gods made the division. Anu went up to the sky, and Elil took the earth for his people. Now remember that. Anu, the father of the gods, the father of the Anunnaki, he took the sky. He went up to the sky. Elil took the earth for his people. So we're going to find out who his people are. These are the Igigi. Okay? Hold on. The Igigi, yeah. Their counselor, hold on. Carry the workload sevenfold. Anu, their father, was king. Their counselor warrior, Elil. Their chamberlain, Ninurta, the canal controller, Inugi. So this is the Anunnaki. Okay? So the Anunnaki took his people, the Igigi, to the earth. They took the earth for themselves. Right here. And Elil took the earth for his people. Who are his people? The Igigi. Right here. The great Anunnaki made the Igigi. The Igigi are Elil's people. The boat which barred the sea was assigned to far-sighted Enki. When Anu had gone up to the sky and the gods of the Apsu had gone below, the Anunnaki of the sky made the Igigi bear the workload. Do not forget the Igigi. The gods had to dig out. So this is the work they had to do. The Igigi. The gods had to dig out. Remember, the Igigi are gods. The god, like Neteru, if you want to call them, right? The gods had to dig out canals, had to clear channels, the lifelines of the land. The gods dug out the Tigris, and then dug out the Tigris River, and then dug out the Euphrates. Okay? So according to the Sumerians, this is how the Tigris and the Euphrates came into being. It was dug out by the Igigi. You got to know this. If you checking Allah's credentials, because he's the one that guided Noble Drew Ali and giving you that work, the Circle 7 Quran. Okay? In the deep, they set up the Apsu of the land, inside it, raised its top of all the mountains. They were counting the years of loads. the Great March, they were counting the years of loads. For 3,600 years, they bore the excess. Hard work, night and day. They groaned and blamed each other, grumbled over the masses of excavated soil, and then said, somebody said, let us confront our such and such, the Chamberlain, and get him ready to relieve us of our hard work. So somebody amongst the Igigi said, yo, we gotta confront. Here's the key word, confrontation. Somebody amongst the Igigi said they gotta confront the Anunnaki so that they could be relieved of their work. It says right here, it says, let us confront our something, the Chamberlain, and get him ready to relieve us of our hard work. Come, let us carry the Lord, the counselor of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Come, let us carry Elil, the counselor of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. In other words, the Igigi were talking about a revolt. Put it on me. In other words, the lesser gods were about to revolt against the greater gods, the Anunnaki, because they felt that they had been enslaved and they no longer wanted to serve them. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so they're talking about carrying the lords and the gods from their dwelling. In other words, you know, when they get a slave plantation and the slaves revolt, they go grab the slave master and carry him out the house and then do bad things to him. Well, that's what they were talking about doing here to the greater gods. Okay? Now let's find out who it was that was inciting the revolt. Let's find out who it was that's the rebellious voice amongst them. Uh-oh. The Atrahasis continued. Allah speaks his first words in history. Put that on me. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. This is the Atrahasis, written in the 17th century BCE. No Quran, no Bible, none of that stuff exists yet. And in 17th century BCE, you got Allah, the God Allah, speaking his very first words in history. Why? Because it's the first time that anybody named Allah is speaking words that are written down and committed to stone. I'm not making this up, people. This is in stone. It's the Atrahasis. Let's go back so I can show them the stone so they can think I'm making it up. There's the stone right there, WB62 in the Ashmolean Museum. Go look it. Go read it. Go get a plane ticket. Go to the Ashmolean Museum, and I guess it's in Iraq, and go read the stone. Because it's right there. The Atrahasis is on there. I'm just reading you the translation by Stephanie Daly. There she is right there. It's in her book, which is the best, which is the most modern translation. And it's the #1 translation. Replaced all other translations. See it? This text will replace all other translations. So we got the best available text. Here it is right here. What does that say? It says, Atrahasis continued, Allah speaks his first words in history. So what are they doing? They're getting ready to revolt. Right? See it right here? Come, let us carry the Lord, the counsel of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Come, let us carry Elil, the counselor of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. So the Igigi are saying, let us carry Elil, who is an Anunnaki, from his dwelling. And then what happens? What does it say? I'm going to give you the privilege of reading it for the first time to your audience. What does that say? It says, then Allah made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Hey, yo, don't the Muslims always say that the Egyptians had many gods, that's why they were pagans? Well, guess what? Allah had brothers. Look, it's right there. Then Allah made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Woo! Why y'all never mention that? Yo, bring that over here. Damn. Hold up. Hey, yo, hold up. Hey, yo, doctor. I thought Allah didn't have no partners. Apparently, he got brothers. Y'all been hiding that from us. It's in the stone, baby. It's in the stone. The stone that's older than your Quran, older than any of that stuff you're talking about. 17th century BCE. Okay? Here you go. Then Allah. Now, Ali Muhammad, Wesley Muhammad, Imam Bashir, Alim Bey, Lord Abba, right? I said it. In order for you to trump me, you got to show me You got to show me in stone words from Allah that predate the after the hadiths. If you can't do that, checkmate, game over.
Checkmate.
Checkmate, game, African checkmate, game over. And this is not African literature.
Now I need you to real quick.
Yeah.
I need you to real quick. Just touch on this real quick, because now you got a Negro in the chat room saying, how is this helping black people? But see, when the Hebrews is up here and they talking all this shit, and then when the Moors is up here talking all this shit, you don't hear them saying, how is this helping black people? But when you come with correct information, now you got Negroes out the woodwork crying. How is this helping black people? Fool, it's going to help you when you get your damn mind right, idiot. Go in.
If I got to tell you how it's going to help black people, you're too stupid for me to tell you anything anyway, so I ain't going to tell you how it's going to. If you're too stupid, in other words, I got to figure out everything for you. I already did the research for you. I already did the hardcore research for you, but now I got to tell you how it's going to help black people. I got to tell you how to wipe your ass too. Real talk? Real talk. Come on, get out of my face with that dumb shit. Here we go. Then Allah made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Then there's a gap of 18 lines in the stone. But Allah says this. Allah says, come, let us carry the counselor of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Come, let us carry Elil, the counselor of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Now cry battle. Let us mix fight with battle. Why is that important? That is important because the very first time Allah is speaking in history, in the after the hadiths, he is calling for battle. He's calling for violence. This is why people perceive him as a violent God, or as people who worship him as violent people, because his interest in history was violent. But in my opinion, I respect it because it was a noble. See, y'all think I'm disrespecting Allah. I'm not. If you follow the story, it will actually give you goosebumps. My problem is not that people worship Allah, it's you lie about Allah because you don't know his origin and you don't do the research. Allah was saying, even though we are the lesser gods, because we have consciousness, we should be respected. We should not be mistreated. We should not be enslaved. We should therefore fight for our liberty, even if it means revolting against those who created us. That is what Allah was saying. That is not anything to be ashamed of. That's something to be proud of. If you want to emulate the God Allah, emulate him in his origin, in his original literature. Not that Quran, because the Quran is not his original literature. The Quran is thousands of years later.
Facts.
Let's get back.
Just proved it.
Here we go. Okay? Here we go. He said, come, let us carry Elil, the counselor of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Now cry battle. Let us mix fight with battle. The gods listened to Allah's speech, set fire to their tools, put aside their spades for fire, their loads for the fire god. They flared up. So what? Allah was a fire god. Uh-oh, look, because they did all of this for the fire god. Who was talking to them? Allah. It says in the text, they put aside their spades for fire, their loads for the fire god. They flared up.
Yo,
Allah was a fire god.
They're going to have a hard time trying to debunk this.
Hold up. When they it's going to get deeper. When they reached the gate of the warrior Elil's dwelling, it was night. The middle watch, the house was surrounded. So because of Allah grabbed the other gods and surrounded the house of the great Anunnaki god Enlil, because they were tired of being enslaved. This is Allah's original story, but they're not telling you that. They want to wear feathers and tell you Allah is a universal God. How is he a universal God when he got brothers? When he's fomenting a revolution against greater gods that created him. The problem is you have no knowledge, but you're walking around like you got knowledge. When you wear this lock on your head, then you will have knowledge. You don't have knowledge. Y'all can't see me, not on my worst day. On my worst day, if this would have been a debate and I would have did it for money and we would have put 5 G's on the table, y'all would be hurting right now. Wesley, Ali, all of you would be hurting right now. Y'all would have to go into your little piggy banks, put your money together, and put it in my pocket. Y'all can't fuck with me, and I'm letting you know that. None of you.
None of you, goddamn.
You feel me? Here we go. Here we go. When they reached the gate of the warrior Elil's dwelling, hold on, yeah, here it goes right here. When they reached the gate of the warrior Elil's dwelling, it was night, the middle watch. The house was surrounded. The god had not realized. It was night, the middle watch. Iker was surrounded. Elil had not realized. Yet Kalkal was attentive and had it closed. He held the lock and watched the gate. Kalka roused Nusku. Now hold on. How can Allah be the only universal God when all these other gods are in the story?
Right.
That's the story that predates the Quran. This is Allah's first story. Yes, Allah's first story. The After the Hadith, written in the 17th century BCE. Boom. Now Valley movement all day, baby. I rep this for real. You understand? And for all you other scholars that want to be Shakka Ahmose, that want to act like, yeah, you got it like that, nah, pa. Because if y'all knew it, y'all would have delivered this a long time ago. What scholar bought this?
None of them.
None of them. Not one.
Not one.
And that means you too. And you know who. Yeah, that means you too. You didn't bring this, bruh. You're my brother and I love you. You're my younger brother. Get that lock on your head. You're screaming Kemet, but I don't see y'all rocking it. You feel me? Come on. There's blessings that come with this. You feel me? Here we go. We're going to continue. Now remember, Allah and the other gods have Elil surrounded. This is in the After the Hadith. This is not on a piece of paper. It's on stone, cut into stone in the 17th century BCE. Why y'all ain't been telling us about this? Come on, here you go. They listened to the noise of the Igigi. You hear them? Now look, they're in the house and they can hear the noise of the gods that's surrounding them. The Igigi. Then Nusku roused his master, made him get out of bed. He said, my lord, your house is surrounded. A rabble is running around your door. Yo, can you see this shit as a movie? Check this shit out. Bro, this is for, do you know what I was going through when I was reading this?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, hold up. There was blood and cripping. I'm like, yo, hold up. Here it is. My lord, your house is surrounded. A rabble is running around your door. Elil had weapons brought to his dwelling. You hear that? Elil made his voice heard and spoke to the vision Nusku. Nusku, bar your door. Take up your weapons and stand in front of me. Nusku barred his door, took up his weapons, and stood in front of Elil. Nusku made his voice heard and spoke to the warrior Elil. Oh my lord, your face is shallow as tamarisk. Now hold on, check it out. You know how Christians always tell you there was a war in heaven, that there was a revolt in heaven? This is the war they're talking about. This is the war they're talking about. They listen. Here we go right here. So Elil made his voice heard and spoke to the vision Nusku. Nusku, bar your door, take up your weapons and stand in front of me. Nusku barred his door, took up his weapons and stood in front of Elil. Nusku made his voice heard and spoke to the warrior Elil. Oh my lord, your face is sallow as tamarisk. Why do you fear your own sons? Remember, Elil is the Anunnaki. The Igigi are his sons. Okay? The Igigi are his sons. Now they don't say who the female Anunnaki was that Elil had sex with to produce his sons. But we know that Elil had sons, and one of his sons was Allah. One of his sons was Allah, who started the revolution, who started the rebelliousness was Allah, and his father is Elil. So Allah has a father. So how can Noble Jew Ali? Hold on, I got to turn this over here. Noble Jew Ali, my brother, I got to correct you. Allah is not the universal God. We know by looking at the tablet, the After the Hadith, which dates back to the 17th century BCE in the Ashmolean Museum. We have one of the top translations in the world right here, updated, that tells us Allah, like the other Igigi, had a father who was one of the Anunnaki, and his name was Elil. And that his son Allah fomented a revolution against him because he felt that he and his brothers, the other Igigi, were being mistreated by their Anunnaki aunts and uncles, and father, and mother, and grandfather Anu. These are the facts. You feel me? Let's rock. You ain't gotta like me. Y'all ain't gotta like me, just learn. Huh? Oh, that's, hold on, bro, let me get this done. Because there ain't gonna be no, it's gonna be hard for me to come back, I'm telling you. Here we go, right? Here we go, yes, right? So here we go. So Elil says, oh my Lord, well, hold on, let's start from here. New school, who's in the house with Elil, Allah's father, New school made his voice heard and spoke to the warrior Elil. Oh my Lord, your face is sallow as tamarisk. Why do you fear your own sons? Talking about the Igigi. Oh Elil, your face is as sallow as tamarisk. Why do you fear your own sons? He asked him twice. Here we go. Then Elil said, send for Anu, who is the greatest one of the Anunnaki. Send for Anu to be brought down to you. Have Enki fetched into your presence. He sent for Anu to be brought down to him. Enki was fetched into his presence. Anu, king of the sky, was present. Enki, king of the Apsu, attended. The great Anunnaki were present. Elil got up and the case was put. So they have in court. Check it out. The great Anunnaki was present. That means all of them. And Anu, with all of them, they were present. Elil got up and the case was put. Elil made his voice heard and spoke to the great gods. That's from the After the Hasis, Tablet 1. Myths from Mesopotamia, Creation, the Flood, Gilgamesh, and others. Page 9 to 11 by Dr. Stephanie Daly. There is the link. And don't fucking tell me I didn't show you a source. And I will repeat it again. The very first time in history when Allah speaks. Then Allah made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Yo, I want 20 bombs after that, Sonetta. I just showed you the first, put it on me. I'm the only man you know that showed you the first time in history where Allah's voice first made his voice heard.
Facts, real shit right
in the After the Hasis. I showed you the stone. I showed you the museum you could go see it in. I showed you the #1 translation you could get it in. Even the book. I'll show it to you right here. There it is. Right there. Oxford edition of Cuneiform Text Volume 2. You can go Google it right now. And again, show you the price. Yo, could you Google that for me right now? The Oxford edition of Cuneiform Text Volume 2. Can I move it or you need to look at it? No, I didn't show them the price of this one. Because I forgot to put that up there. I want to see it. Yeah, Oxford editions, plural, editions. Oxford editions of Cuneiform Text Volume 2. Yeah. What's the price?
All right, so $165.
How much?
$165.
$165.
Then for online, they got it for $200.
Online, you can get it for $200. All right? Don't tell me I didn't show you. In this stone is where Allah's voice is first heard, not in the Quran.
Facts.
Facts. Facts. Facts. Wesley Muhammad, Ali Muhammad. That is not an African stone. The After the Hasis is in Iraq. Iraq is not Africa. That's Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and the Euphrates. Imam Bashir, Ali Muhammad, Lord Abba. You're not pushing African stuff. So don't come at me with that. Okay? Here we go. Allah is not an African God, Ali Muhammad. You can scream till you blue in the face. You can't change that, Ali Muhammad. You're trying to find Allah in the pyramid text, not gonna happen. Pretending that you did. Pretending that more is in the pyramid text. You need to stop pretending. Okay? This is where Allah's origin is. In Sumer. In Mesopotamia. And I'm just getting started. Why? Because I told you I was going to read you the whole thing. That was just a portion to prove to you where his voice is just heard. Now comes the whole thing. Here you go. When the gods instead of man did the work, bore the loads, the gods load, and I'm doing this for my brother Sonetta because he cares about your minds that much. Okay? Here you go. All right? When the gods, we're going to be done by 6. When the gods instead of man did the work, when the gods instead of man did the work, bore the loads, the gods' load was too great. The work too hard, the trouble too much. The great Anunnaki made the Igigi carry the workload 7-fold. Anu, their father, was king. Their counselor warrior Elil, Their chamberlain was Ninurta. Their canal controller, Inugi. They took the box of lots, cast the lots. The gods made the division. Anu went up to the sky, and Elil took the earth for his people, the Igigi. The boat which barred the sea was assigned to far-sighted Enki. When Anu had gone up to the sky, and the gods of the Apsu had gone below, the Anunnaki of the sky made the Igigi bear the workload. The gods had to dig out canals, had to clear channels, the lifelines of the land. The gods dug out the Tigris River and then dug out the Euphrates. So that's how the Tigris River and the Euphrates was created. They were dug out by the Igigi, who resented being put to work like that. In the deep, they set up the Apsu of the land. Inside it raised its top of all the mountains. They were counting the years of loads. The great marsh, they were counting the years of loads. For 3,600 years, they bore the excess. Hard work night and day. They groaned and blamed each other. Grumbled over the masses of excavated soil. Let us confront our such and such, the chamberlain, and get him ready to relieve us of our hard work. Here comes the revolt. We just read it a minute ago. Come, let us carry the Lord, the counselor of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Come, let us carry Elil, the counselor of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. So they getting ready to flip on the gods because they've been putting the work too hard. Then who? Then Allah made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Gap about 18 lines. So remember, Allah got brothers. Let's be clear on that. All that shit y'all been talking since we got off the plantation, y'all just got dunked.
That Allah don't have no partners and none of that.
All that shit y'all been talking to the Kemetic community about. We worship different gods. And guess what? Allah got brothers. According to the oldest text, Allah got brothers. After the Hasis. Here we go. Okay? You want to hate Shakka Ahmose? I'm going to give you a reason to hate me. Okay? Here you go. If you're smart, you would love me and respect me for what I'm doing for you. Here you go. Now, then Allah made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Gap of about 18 lines. Come, let us carry the counselor of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Come, let us carry Elil, the counselor of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Now, cry battle. Let us mix fight with battle. That is the clarion call of Allah. Allah, the war God. Allah, the war God, made war against his own father and mothers and uncles and aunts. Allah is a war God. Here we go. Let's get it back. Yo, let's get it back. I know you're crying out there. Keep crying, because I'm going to give you a reason to cry. Here you go. Here you go. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Hold on. Here we go. The gods listened to his speech. Whose speech did they listen to, class? Allah's speech. Remember, Allah made his voice heard. It said the gods listened to his speech, set fire to their tools, put aside their spades for fire, their loads for the fire god. They flared up. When they reached the gate of warrior Elil's dwelling, it was night. The middle watch. The house was surrounded. Oh, I see a film in my mind. The house was called the birth of Allah. The house was surrounded. The god had not realized. It was night. The middle watch. Iker was surrounded. Elil had not realized. Yet Calcal was attentive and had it closed. He held the lock and watched the gate. Calcal roused New School.
But listen, the part right here.
Dude, you got to let me finish, yeah.
The part right here where it says the gods listen to his speech. So that's showing you right there.
There you go.
Allah is not the only God.
Allah is not the universal God. Noble Drew Ali was wrong. Elijah Muhammad was wrong. Farrakhan was wrong. They wrong. And if you the mark of true intelligence, it is admitting when you are wrong.
Facts. Yes, sir.
When you are wrong, if you can't do that, I don't care what uniform you wear. I don't care what code you got, how many temples you got. If you can't admit when you wrong, fuck you. Nobody, I don't care who you are. You're not intelligent. You're not intelligent. Period. Allah is not the universal God. He got brothers.
Damn.
And he got a father, uncles, and aunts.
Going the fuck in on this.
I told you I was going to bring it. I told you I wasn't playing. Come on, man. You know how I do, Sonetta. Come on, man. Here we go. Look. They flared up. Oh, yeah, I said that part. They listened to the noise of the Igigi. So the Igigi had them so surrounded that they was making noise. Check it out. Allah and his brothers, they had the house surrounded. They listened to the noise of the Igigi. Then Nusku roused his master, made him get out of bed. My lord, your house is surrounded. A rabble is running around your door. Elil had weapons brought to his dwelling. Uh-oh, they getting ready to go to war. Elil had weapons brought to his dwelling. Elil made his voice heard and spoke to the vision Nusku. Nusku, bar your door. Take up your weapons and stand in front of me. Nusku barred his door, took up his weapons and stood in front of Elil. They getting ready to get down. Nusku made his voice heard and spoke to the warrior Elil. Oh my lord, your face is sallow as tamarisk. Why do you fear your own sons? So Allah had a father, Elil. He didn't just have brothers, he had a father. He said, why do you fear your own sons?
And this is before the Quran.
Thousands of years before the Quran. Okay? Oh Elil, your face is sallow as tamarisk. At least 2,000 years before the Quran. Okay? Oh Elil, your face is sallow as tamarisk. Why do you fear your own sons? Then he said, I shouldn't be here. Here it goes, the remainder of the Atul Hadith. I shouldn't have read that twice because I moved it. So here it goes right here. So, hold on, we're going to read it again. Here it goes. So Elil said, send for Anu to be brought down to you. Have Enki fetched into your presence. He sent for Anu to be brought down to him. Enki was fetched to his presence. Anu, king of the sky, was present. Enki, king of the Apsu. So they were having court. King of the Apsu attended. The great Anunnaki were present. Elil got up and the case was put. Elil made his voice heard and spoke to the great gods. Now, we're going to continue with the rest. The remainder of the Atul Hadith. This is from me to y'all. Not Shaka. I didn't write this. This is on the stone.
On the stone.
The Atul Hadith in the Ashmolean Museum. And I'm reading for you from the Well Bundle Collection. In the Ashmolean, the top translation by Dr. Stephanie Daly of Oxford University.
Oxford.
Teaches Sumerian and Akkadian and Assyriology. And Assyrian. Okay? Know what you're getting. This is that multi-$1,000, $1 million scholarship. Okay? Ask Zion Lex why he didn't bring this to you. Ask Wesley Muhammad why he ain't bring this to you. Ask Ali Muhammad why he ain't bring this to you. Since all of them want to talk all this smack about Shakka Ahmose, ask the Kemetic scholars why they ain't bring this to you. Since they, rolling with me, they on my level and blah, 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 blah. They know about all the gods. Why didn't it show you who Allah was and where he came from? There's only one name you can name that did that. So go ahead and say it.
Shakka Ahmose.
You heard? Here you go. So, this is now Anu speak. Not Anu, this is Elil speaking. Remember, they have a court now. Right? Elil got up and the case was put. Elil made his voice heard. So you see, it's Elil speaking. Elil made his voice heard and spoke to the great gods. Well, what did he say? He said, is it against me that they have risen? Shall I do battle? What did I see with my own eyes? A rabble was running around my door. Anu made his voice heard, the great father of all of them, and spoke to the warrior Elil. He said, let Nusku go out and find out the word of the Igigi who have surrounded your door. A command to Elil, a command to such and such. Elil made his voice heard and spoke to the vision Nusku. Nusku, open your door, take up your weapons and stand before me in the assembly of all the gods. Bow, then stand and tell them, your father Anu, your counselor warrior Elil, your chamberlain Inerta, and your canal controller Inugi have sent me to say who is in charge of the rabble. Well, we already know who's in charge of the rabble. Who's in charge of the rabble? Say his name. Who started all of it? Who started the rebellion? Allah. Allah. Okay? He's asking, look. Yeah, exactly. Hold on. They say there's no God greater than Allah. Well, hold on. When you get to the end of this story, you're going to see why they say that. Because Allah did something very special. But they don't know about it because they don't want to know history. They just want to get stuck in a fucking book that is a lie, number one, and is miseducating them, number two. And then they want to miseducate us because they think that all of us are so stupid that not one amongst us could finally get to the facts and the truth.
Sadly mistaken.
You understand? Here you go. So, he said, who is in charge of the rabble? Who is in charge of the fighting? Right? Who declared war? Who ran to the door of Elil? We know that Allah is the one that started it. Right? Didn't Allah start it? Let's prove it.
That's right.
Hold on, we're going to go back and see it. Then Allah made his voice heard and spoke to his gods, spoke to the gods, his brothers. Come, let us carry the counsel of gods, the warrior from his dwelling. Allah is the one who started it. Allah is the one who declared war. Allah is the one who ran to the door of Elil with the Igigi at his side, his brothers. It was a gang, they was ganging up on their father, right? Nusku opened his door, took up his weapons, went before Elil in the assembly of all the gods. He bowed, then stood and told the message. Your father, Anu, your counselor warrior, Elil, your chamberlain, Ninurta, and your canal controller, Inugi, have sent me to say who was in charge of the rabble, who was in charge of the fighting, who declared war, who ran to the door of Elil. We already know who did. Elil's son, Allah. Okay? But check it out. Check out what the Igigi did. And I think this is beautiful. So this is not to disrespect Allah. This is not to disrespect people who believe in Allah. But as your brother, I want you to know his true story and what happened. Because nobody has ever told you. If they did, tell me who it is. Because Noble Jew Ali didn't tell you. He couldn't tell you because he didn't know this. Farrakhan couldn't even tell you this. Farrakhan talked more about Jesus than he do about Muhammad or Allah. I want to be Baptist preacher. And that's no disrespect, but it's the truth. I like listening to Minister Farrakhan. I enjoy his lectures. I think he loves us as best he can. I don't know. You know? But if you love us, then stop pimping a lie. You got all that money to do all that research, secret relationship between blacks and Jews. You couldn't do this kind of research and tell people the true story of Allah? With all due respect, sir, and I mean with due respect, sir, with no disrespect. Okay? So here we go. Look at what Allah's brothers did for him. They could have sold him out right here. They could have said Allah was the one who started it. They could have said Allah was the one who rattled us up. They could have said Allah was the one that told us to declare war. But they didn't do that. Look what they did for their brother. And this is what black people got to learn to do for each other. Look at what they did for Allah. They said every single one of us gods declared war. We have put a stop to the digging. The load is excessive. It is killing us. Our work is too hard. The trouble too much. So every single one of us gods has agreed to complain to Elil. They didn't sell Allah out. Look at this story you missing. Because of ignorance, put that on me. Because of somebody else's ignorance, you're missing out on the whole story of Allah. I think it's a beautiful story. But don't come and lie to me with your Quran. Don't come and lie to me with your Circle 7 Quran telling me that that's the whole thing, because it's not. My name is Shakka Ahmose. Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen is my teacher. Dr. John Henry Clark was my teacher. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Shaka!
Infadishi is my teacher. Rakedi Amen is my teacher. Brother Reggie is my teacher. Okay? Yes. I had the best teachers. The Netaru are my teachers. You understand? That's the part about me you don't know. That's the part about me you don't know. Y'all think I just study straight from human beings. That's the part that y'all don't know about. And why I rock this lock. Why I earned the privilege to wear this lock. Let's go. Here we go. All right? They said, they covered. Ain't that beautiful, Sanetta?
Yes, sir.
You will never forget this as long as you live.
That's right.
They could have sold their brother out. They didn't. They said every single one of us gods declared war. Dude, no lie, Sanetta, I cried when I read that because it made me think about us. I said, imagine if we did that to each other. You know how y'all say stop snitching? They didn't snitch on Allah. They could have sold him out right there and the gods could have took him out because they created him. Thinking he's a universal God or you don't even know his damn story. I'm the expert on Allah, not you.
Damn.
And now, hold on. And look, turn the camera on me for a minute.
They done made God
Hold up.
some superpower being.
Bro, let me tell you something. Mr. Ali Muhammad, who said you're the most important Muslim on the planet, that might be true, but the difference between you and me is that I'm the expert on Allah, not you. So let's remember that. With all due respect, my brother, I love you, but I had to clear that up. Okay? Not Wesley Muhammad, me.
Ali might be called.
Okay? That's all right. Call me. Let them all call me at the same time. I'm not done yet. We still reading, ain't we? Right? So much. So every single one of us gods has agreed to complain to Elil. Nusku took his weapons, went and returned to Elil. My Lord, you sent me to such and such. I went such and such. I explained such and such. Such and such and such and such and such and such. It's saying every single one of us gods declared war. Oh, he said they probably responded. They said every single one of us gods. So he's telling Elil he's telling Anu and Elil what the Igigi have said. He said that they said every single one of us gods declare war. We have put a stop to the digging. The load is excessive. It is killing us. Our work is too hard. The trouble too much. So every single one of us gods has agreed to complain to Elil. That's deep, man. That's a value system at work. Elil listened to that speech. His tears flowed. Oh, Allah's father's crying.
He cried?
Yeah, look.
Hold up,
Elil listened to the speech. His tears flowed. Okay? Elil spoke guardedly, addressed the warrior Anu, because Elil thought only one of his children probably started it. He was right. But all of his children sided with their brother Allah. Why they not telling you this story? Them assholes in the chat room should be saying, thank you, Shakka. Nobody told us this. But no. Right. Y'all want to go run back to the Quran, run back to the Circle 7 Quran, because you want to stay enslaved and take refuge in your ignorance. That's not me. I'm sorry. Here you go. Elil listened to the speech. His tears flowed. Elil spoke guardedly, addressed the warrior Anu. He said, Elil spoke to Anu, his father. He said, noble one, take a decree with you to the sky. Show your strength. While the Anunnaki are sitting before you, check this out. Call up one God and let them cast him for destruction. Now you're going to find out, hold up. Now you're going to find out the real reason that Muslims hate Jesus. Why? Because there was another God that was sacrificed before Jesus that they don't tell you about. Put the camera back here, because your Uncle Shaka going to show you. All right? Put it back here. They said, call up one God. This was Elil's request. He said, call up one of my children and cast them for destruction. Okay? All of a sudden now, you got a history now of gods sacrificing their own children.
Another God.
That started in Mesopotamia. Okay? Here you go. Call up, he said right here, I'm going to read it again. He said, Elil spoke guardedly, addressed the warrior Anu, noble one, take a decree with you to the sky. Show your strength. While the Anunnaki are sitting before you, call up one God and let them cast him for destruction. Anu made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers. What are we complaining of? Their work was indeed too hard. Their trouble was too much. Every day earth resounded. The warning signal was loud enough. We kept hearing the noise. So Anu was like, why are we complaining? We knew what was going on. We knew what we did. Right? Gap partly filled, partly overlapped by the following two standard Babylonian fragments. Right? Standard Babylonian version fragments. Standard Babylonian version. So it continues on. While the Anunnaki are sitting before you, this is Anu talking. While the Anunnaki are sitting before you, and while Belet Eli, the womb goddess, is present, call up one and cast him for destruction. You heard that? So they decided, Anu, the father, decided, we're going to kill one of them Igigi for doing what they did. Nusku opened the door. Anu made his voice heard and spoke to Nusku. Nusku, open your door, take up your weapons, bow in the assembly of the great gods, then stand and tell them your father Anu, your counselor warrior Elil, your chamberlain Ninurta, and your canal controller Inugi have sent me to say who is in charge of the rabble, who will be in charge of battle. Which god started the war? A rabble was running around my door. When Nusku heard this, he took up his weapons, bowed in the assembly of the great gods, then stood and told them, your father Anu, your counselor warrior Elil, your chamberlain Ninurta, and your canal controller Inugi have sent me to say, who is in charge of the rabble? Who is in charge of the fighting? Which god started the war? A rabble was running around Elil's door. Now we know which god. We know the answer to the question. Who was the God that started the rabble, Sonetta?
Allah.
Who was the God that started the war?
Allah.
Who was in charge of the fighting?
Allah.
Who created the rabble that was running around Elil's door?
Allah.
Allah. I'm not lying, it's in stone. It's in stone. Gap of uncertain length, standard Babylonian version. Yah made his voice heard. And so, yeah, you got the God Yah. So Yah and Allah are mentioned in the same story.
Hold up. Say, do that again.
Yah, that is pronounced Yah.
Uh-oh.
It's an old spelling for Yah. Yah made his voice heard and spoke to the gods, his brothers. Why are we blaming them? Their work was too hard. So yeah, Yah and Allah was rolling together. They're both Mesopotamian gods. Okay? All the Hebrews did was change the spelling. That's all they did. Alright? Their trouble was too much. Talking about the Agigi. Every day the earth resounded. The warning signal was loud enough. We kept hearing the noise. There is such and such. But let Eli, the womb goddess, is present. Let her. Now this is how man was created in the story. Check this shit out. Let her create primeval man so that he may bear the yoke. So that he may bear the yoke. The work of Elil. Let man bear the load of the gods. Now this is very important. Why is this important? Because what this is telling you is that in the Mesopotamian cosmology, man was created for slavery. Man was created to serve the gods. For slavery. That's why, so that the Igigi would no longer have to do it. It's right there. I'm not lying to you, it's right there. Right there. Let Elil, the womb goddess, let her create primeval man so that he may bear the yoke, so that he may bear the yoke, the work of Elil, right? Let man bear the load of the gods. So man was supposed to do the work of Elil. Okay? The old Babylonian version. But let Elil, the womb goddess, is present. Let the womb goddess create offspring. Alright? But let Elil, the womb goddess, is present. Let the womb goddess create offspring. And let man bear the load of the gods. They called up the goddess. Asked the midwife of the gods, why is mommy? You are the womb goddess to be the creator of mankind. Create primeval man that he may bear the yoke. This is all in the Atrahasis has ceased, people. Okay? What did they say? Let him bear the yoke, the work of Elil. Let man bear the load of the gods. Nintu made her voice heard and spoke to the great gods. It is not proper for me to make him. Now this is what Nintu said. Okay? Nintu made her voice heard. Now mommy is here, it's called Nintu. Okay? Nintu made her voice heard and spoke to the great gods. It is not proper for me to make him. Talking about man. She said the work is Enki's. He makes everything pure. If he gives me clay, then I will do it. Enki made his voice heard and spoke to the great gods, the Anunnaki. On the 1st, 7th, and 15th of the month, I shall make a purification by washing. Then one god should be slaughtered. And the gods can be purified by immersion. Immersion in what? Blood. Right? Then one god should be slaughtered, and the gods can be purified by immersion. Nintu shall mix clay with his flesh and blood. So these gods, so check it out. Nintu shall mix clay with his flesh and blood. These gods had flesh and blood. So when the Muslims tell you, or certain Muslims in the NOI tell you Allah is a true and living being, a true and living man, right? They always say he's not a spook God. He's a true and living man. Because in the original story, he had flesh and blood. But it's not in the Quran. You got to go to the original story. The epic of the Atrahasis. The epic of Atrahasis. Written in the 17th century BCE in the Ashmolean Museum. Okay, on the WB 62 stone. Okay, here you go. Nintu shall mix clay with his flesh and blood. Then a god and a man will be mixed together in clay. Let us hear the drum beat forever. Do you know what the drum beat is? A heart. You got to understand this language. Let us hear the drum beat forever. They're talking about our heart. After, and then check this out. Let a ghost come into existence from the god's flesh. Now you know where they get the whole Holy Ghost thing. Check it out, bro. Let her proclaim it as his living sign. and let the ghost exist so as not to forget what? The slain God. Now we're going to find out who the slain God is. They answered yes in the assembly. The great Anunnaki who assigns the fate. So guess what? The Anunnaki, Saneta, the Ila Wela, who had intelligence, they slaughtered in their assembly. That's just another name for Allah. Ila Wela. These gods have different titles. Ila, they're speaking about Allah in a specific context. We're going to find out what context later. Ila Wela, who had intelligence, they slaughtered in their assembly. So Allah got slaughtered in his story, in his original story. He was killed because he started a war, because he got his brothers together to go against his father Elil. So at the word of the great God Ninu, in order to create man to bear the load, they did so by killing a god. Ila Wela, who had intelligence, they slaughtered in their assembly. Nintu mixed clay with his flesh and blood. They heard the drum beat forever after. This is the creation of man in the Mesopotamian cosmology. A ghost came into existence from the god's flesh, and she proclaimed it as his living sign, the slain god. After she had mixed that clay, she called up the Anunnaki, the great gods, the Igigi, the great gods, spat spittle upon the clay. Mommy made her voice heard and spoke to the great gods. I have carried out perfectly the work that you ordered of me. You have slaughtered a god together with his intelligence. Allah had to die so that man could live. Allah had to be sacrificed by his own family so that man could be created. This is why they resent Jesus. They are going, how you going to come?
Jesus.
Yeah, they're going to like, how you going to talk about man? Jesus was created so that man could. Jesus was sacrificed so that man could live. Bullshit. Allah was sacrificed first in the original story. Before there was a Jesus story, Allah was sacrificed first so that man could be created. Why didn't Wesley Muhammad tell you this? All the meetings y'all had up at the National Black Theater, why didn't Ali Muhammad tell you this? All this money you giving these people and they not telling you shit. They telling you a feel-good story. Your brother Shakka Ahmose, who y'all ain't giving a dime to, I'm giving you the real. I'm giving you the real. Here you go. Right? I have relieved you of your hard work. I have imposed your load on man. You have bestowed noise on man. You have bestowed noise on mankind. I have undone the fetter and granted freedom. They listened to the speech of hers. So this is what Mommy or Ninurta said. Is it Ninurta? Gotta make sure I'm right. Right here. Pretty sure it's Ninurta. This is what Nintu. This is what Nintu on Mommy said. I see that, bro. Bro, okay. Whatever they miss, it's not going to be on me. All right? I have relieved you of your hard work. I have imposed your load on man. You have bestowed noise on man. But they listened to the speech of hers, and they were freed from anxiety and kissed her feet. We used to call you Mommy, but now your name will be Mistress of all gods. I can't see what it says here. For something. All right, yeah. All right. Went into the room of fate. The womb goddesses were assembled. He tried the clay in her presence. She kept reciting an incantation. For Enki staying in her presence when her made her recite it. When she had finished her incantation, she pinched off 14 pieces of clay and set 7 pieces on the right, 7 pieces on the left. Between them, she put down a mud brick. She made use of a reed, opened it to cut the umbilical cord, called up the wise and knowledgeable womb goddess, 7 and 7. 7 created males, 7 created females. For the womb goddess is creator of fate. He created them 2 by 2. Created them 2 by 2 in her presence. Mommy made these rules for her people. This is how human beings were created in the Mesopotamian cosmology. Now you could give your brother Shakka Ahmose a hand, because I just showed you the original story of Allah. He was a god of rebelliousness who rebelled for good reason, because the Igigi, the other god, were being mistreated. They were being enslaved by the gods that created them.
Hold on, Shakka Ahmose.
Yeah. And hold on, and then hold on, and then he was slain He's slain, and with his blood, man was created. With the blood of Allah and and clay, Mami Nintu made man. This is their story. This is Allah's first story. And don't say, well, it's a different Allah. It ain't no different Allah. This is Allah's story. Let's go.
But listen, hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, how do you miss the most important part, though, my brother?
What's that?
Come on, man. Go back. No, go back. They've been talking about the black woman as God, right? So, come on, man. You gotta recognize that.
Yeah.
Called up the wise and knowledgeable womb goddess.
Yeah,
the knowledgeable
goddesses.
Womb
Yeah.
goddesses.
That's real.
Come on, bro.
Yeah. See, that's the other thing too. See, that's the part that Islam messes up. They leave the female out. They didn't let you know what role she played in creation. Why? Because they didn't have the original story. This is the original story. It shows you the role that the female played. It shows you the role that the female played. Now, I'm not going to tell you that these are black people doing this or that these are white people or mixed people. Right. There was a mixture in the area of this world at the time.
The point we make is that they leave out the woman. They leave out
the female. You know, for the most part, they were Africoid. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, they were Africoid. They were black. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's what's up, people. This is the real origin of Allah. So now we know who was guiding Noble Jew Ali, because remember, that's what this whole exercise was about. This whole exercise was about showing who was guiding Noble Jew Ali, because he said Allah was guiding him when he made he said Allah was guiding him when he divinely prepared the Circle 7 Quran.
But I doubt that.
You feel me? There's only one Allah. There's only one Allah. What they did was, through time, they changed his story. They created different policy around him, you know. But you got to give them credit. He's the one that made the ultimate sacrifice. Then he should get the ultimate credit. He should be the only God. If you look at it through those lenses, Allah should be the only God, because he's the one that made the sacrifice. But you got to discuss the sacrifice he made, that he was slaughtered by the other gods, and they used his blood and clay with the help of Mami Nintu, who fashioned man with her wisdom and intelligence. They killed not only his body, but they also killed his intelligence. If you go back, his body and his flesh, blood, and intelligence was slaughtered. Okay? So you got to remember that. Probably to make man docile so that man would not be rebellious. Okay? So now, on Allah. So I'm going to speed it up. We're going to miss out a few things, folks. So here you go. I give you the Mesopotamian Igigi featuring the god Allah, later in history referred to as both Allah and Allah. Okay? Because you got different spellings. So y'all think there's only one spelling for Allah.
What about Allah?
Hold on. Forget that. That's just one more version. All right? Feminine version. The Igigi featuring Allah, Allah's high priest, Noble Jew Ali. Okay? Now you know who Allah is. Okay? You will never, nobody put it on me. Nobody with a fez, nobody with a kufi, nobody calling himself a Sufi, nobody calling himself a Moor, nobody will ever again come to you and tell you about Allah. No Christian who worships Allah will ever tell you about who Allah is, because I just told you and I showed you. I didn't tell you out my mouth. I showed you. Okay? I showed you. Reiterate. Who is guiding Noble Jew Ali? Can they be trusted? By the guiding of his father God, Allah, the great God of the universe. Now you know who Allah is. When I started this, you didn't know who Allah was when I started this presentation. Ain't nobody knew. I had to bring it. You feel me? Here you go. We're going to forget this. Even in the earlier translations that were inferior, they knew that the story was still the same. They said most of the lines are lost, fragmentary, or repetitious. But it is clear that one of the worker gods is speaking to the others and exhorting them to rebel. His speech ends with the following: now engage in battle, stir up war and hostilities. The gods listen to his words, so on and so on. But in the earlier ones, Allah's name is omitted in that translation. That's why it's not a good translation anymore. You got to get the Stephanie Dalley version, because his name was put back in the text. You understand? That's from In the Beginning, Creation Myths from Ancient Mesopotamia, Israel, and Greece by Joanne O'Brien, Wilfred Major. American Academy of Religion, Oxford University Press. Because just say I don't give sources, like you live in a fantasy land, right? We're going to skip all that, but I want to show you real fast. When I showed you they killed Ila Wela, because somebody's going to say, how you know Ila Wela and Allah are the same thing? Why? Because Allah, considered to be derived from a contraction of the Arabic definite article, Al and Ila, deity, God. Okay? Ila means God. Remember, it was Ila, Ila, Ela. Here's Al-Ila, deity, God, to Allah, meaning the deity or the God. Hold on. That's from Encyclopedia of the Quran. Good Bowen. Ila, Ela, reference to Allah when he's punished for instigating the rebellion in the story. On the 1st, 7th, and 15th of the month, Enki made a purification by washing. Ila, Ela, who had intelligence, they slaughtered in their assembly. Nintu, no, you don't put, no. It's Ilo, Ela. It's not, you can't see automatically, you thinking to put you got to do, it's Ilo, Ela. Okay? So, they slaughtered in their assembly. Nintu mixed clay with his flesh and blood. They heard the drum beat forever after. That's mankind. After the Hassis, myths from Mesopotamia. Now look over here. Right? Hold on. Allah, 1702, Arabic name for the supreme being from Arabic. Allahu. Contraction of Al, Allahu. From what? Al, the, and Ilah, God. So look, I'm showing you something. Watch this. Ilah is God here. Ilah is God there. Do you see it? Look what I just showed you. Ilah is God here, right? In the Arabic. Look, Ilah, I'm showing you this. Look at this, son. Look. Ilah is God. It says right here. This is from Edom Online. Okay, for Etymology Dictionary Online. 1702, Arabic name for the supreme being from Arabic, Allahu. Contraction of Al-Lahu. From Al, the, and Ilah, God. Related to the Hebrew, Elo. Him. Remember, Ilah and Elo, they're all the same. So here you got, because they're all from the same region, Mesopotamia. Here you got Ilah, the God. Ilah, the God. Do you see it? Mm-hmm. That's why you don't put the W there. The W goes there. Elo. Right. Ilah. Here, Al. Ilah. Here, Elo. Him. It's all the same God from Mesopotamia. Okay? And here to prove it again further. When they say this is called the Tahil, or the Talil, and it represents Tawheed, or the oneness of God. All right? They say, Muhammadur Rasulu Allah, Ilah. Muhammad is the messenger of God. So Ilah is God. Again, Ilah is God. Ilah is God. So when they say, I told you they were talking about Allah by name, but here when they referenced him when he gets killed, they refer to him as the God. Ilah, the God. The God, they say here, the God who had intelligence, they slaughtered in their assembly. In other words, the one who calculated and strategized the rebellion, that was Allah. Okay? Here you go. Hold on. Different forms. I just showed you. I'm not going to do that again. But I'll show it to you here. It's the same thing there. And here you got here. Hold on. Way Ilah. This is an older inferior translation again. Before they didn't have the translation correct. They only had the second part correct, which was Ilah, because they knew they were still talking about the God. But they realized later it was Ilah, not way. They had the W in the wrong place. Here they had to see that W messed them up like it messed you up a minute ago. But instead of putting the W there, originally in the inferior translation, they had it in the beginning. See? Way Ilah, who had rationality, they slaughtered in their assembly. That's from a 1982 outdated translation from a book called In the Beginning, Creation Myths from Ancient Mesopotamia, Israel and Greece. Okay, the same inferior translation I showed you before. Allah, considered to be derived from a contraction of the Arabic definite article Al and the, Al, the, and Ilah, deity or God, to Ah and La, meaning the deity or the God. So here, even when they say Allah, they're not saying his name correctly because they left out the E in the front of it. The Ilah. It should be Ilah or Allah. Well, actually, it's Allah. Okay? Wait, so Allah is fine. But what they're doing is they're playing games.
So why they got the W at the other one, and with this one they have the W with the E, the I, and the LA?
Okay. Oh, say it again?
So the other one you just showed on a prior slide, why does they have the W? Well, yeah, why the W was with the I-L-A-W, but the other
Here?
one is not? Yeah.
Because this is a correct translation.
Okay.
It's an updated translation. Remember they said Stephanie Dalley's translation replaces all the other ones?
Yeah.
Hers is the most recent one. So if you go back to her book and you see the date on it, which I'm not going to do right now, hers is like a recent version. This is back in 82. So the translation was not, it was older. That's why it says here, it says an alternate earlier inferior translation of the Atta Hassis tablet. I'm explaining to you why the W-E is there, because it's an older one. Okay, cool. Here we go. So we're going to move. Here we go. So Allah, a Sumerian god still surviving in Arabic and Islam. Because now they're going to say, you know how you always like to play devil advocate? Shaka, they're going to say this. Shaka, they're going to say that. Well, I'm going to tell you what they're going to say. They're going to say, Shaka, that's a different Allah because his name is spelled A-L-L-A.
Right.
Our Allah is spelled A-L-L-A-H. But we're going to see. Let's go. Because I already know y'all. I know you dummies. Right? This is Dr. Oh, I thought there was only one way to spell Allah. How's that? That's Dr. What's his name?
Allah.
Dr. Aliyah El-Gibali, PhD. Professor of Linguistics. Look him up. Dr. Allah El-Gibali, PhD. You can spell it. You see it right there. Just go to, the link is down there on the bottom. You can copy it. Dr. El-Gibali received the MA in TFL from the American University in Cairo and a doctorate in general linguistics from the University of Pittsburgh. He taught at sites of Johns Hopkins, UC Berkeley, Kuwait University, Ain Shams University, AUC, the American University of Beirut, and the University of Maryland at College Park. El-Gibali is the author of several seminal publications, including what? Arabic as a First Language, a study in language acquisition and development in 2003. He has also edited a number of important volumes, including Understanding Arabic, 96, Investigating Arabic, 2004, and is the associate editor of the 4-volume Encyclopedia of Arabic Language and Linguistics. El-Gibali served as executive director of the Center for Arabic Studies, director of the TAFL program at AUC, and acting director of the Arabic Language Institute and co-director of CASA. Current research agenda include K-12 Arabic, advanced language proficiency, and the development of standards for acquisition and testing. In other words, this man knows more about Arabic than every fool that's going to get on his chat room and comment. He knows more about Arabic than Ali Muhammad, yes. Know more about Arabic than Wesley Muhammad, yes. Know more about Arabic than all the rest of these fools talking all that yang. This man is the go-to man if you're trying to understand Arabic. Okay? That's who you go to. Here you go. His book, Understanding Arabic, Essays in Contemporary Arabic Linguistics in honor of El Said Badawi, edited by Allah El-Gibali. Now remember, y'all said Allah is only spelled A-L-L-A-H, the way y'all spell it. Well, we gonna see. The pattern of settlement, okay, Siculo-Arabic and the Maltese language. You ever heard of Siculo-Arabic? You ever heard of the Maltese language? You ever heard of Malta?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Number love. Okay? Okay. Good. It's almost done. All right? The pattern of settlement, here goes. The pattern of settlement in Sicily in the beginning of the Islamic conquest in the early 9th century was not a matter of migratory movement, but strictly a military operation. The armies formed garrison towns and their men married local Christian and Jewish women, as was the pattern with the first Islamic conquest in the East. Details of the operation in Sicily are unclear. It is assumed at first the local Christian peasants were left to work on the land and harvest their crops. Most of the original Christian population became Islamicized. It was only when the Islamic conquest was completed in 831 that the Muslim families of the troops migrated from North Africa. Having an impact on the natives over the years to come, there is a large inventory of Siculo-Arabic agricultural terminology that testifies to the social and economic impact. What this means, people, is that African families who spoke Arabic migrated to Sicily. You know Italy, Sicily? They migrated to Sicily in the 9th century AD, and Arabic became the language of the Christian and Jewish population in Sicily, of the Sicilians. Okay? Here we go. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That's not true. Actually, yeah, it is. But I got to tell you why. They don't tell you why yet. I'm going to tell you why right now. It's not true. They didn't go to Sicily. I'm sorry. They did go to Sicily. Yeah, they went to Sicily. They went to Sicily. Here you go. Here is Sicily. Here is Malta. Okay? They actually came from Tunisia, Tunis, right here, and they went over to Malta. Okay? From Malta, they went to Sicily. Okay? They migrated to Sicily from Malta. And from Malta, they brought the Arabic secular language with them. I'm going to show you. Right here. Maltese, secular Arabic, and Allah, surviving in Maltese, the Arabic dialect of Malta. Maltese is a so-called mixed language with a substrate of Arabic, a considerable substrate of Romance origin, especially Sicilian, and to a much more limited extent English, the Semitic Western Maghrebi Arabic. So this is Arabic that comes from the Maghreb, the Moors. Okay? Element is evident enough to just the real Moors. Okay? Element is evident enough to justify considering the language a peripheral dialect of Arabic. So Maltese is a peripheral dialect of Arabic. It's a form of Arabic. It's spoken in the island of Malta to this very day. Okay? Now check it out. Maltalex. That's from Maltalex. So you see how long so sources. That's from Maltalex, a computational lexicon for Maltese by M. Rosner J. Carana and R. Fabri, University of Malta. It's straight from Malta. They're telling you that their language is a peripheral dialect of Arabic. That's not Shakka Ahmose. All the links are on the bottom for you who say I don't give sources. We almost there. Check it out. Professor Joseph M. Brincat teaches Italian linguistics and medieval literature at the University of Malta. He holds degrees from universities of Malta, London, and Florence. The real beginning of the Maltese language took place in 1048 when the Arabs brought in a new community which absorbed the few survivors of the old one who did not leave their mark on the new language. This was a variety of Arabic that had developed in Sicily and was still spoken in its western parts under the Normans. Originally, Maltese was an Arabic dialect, but it was immediately exposed to Latinization because the Normans conquered the island in 1090, while Christianization, which was completed by 1250, cut off the dialect from contact with classical Arabic. Consequently, Maltese developed on its own. That's from Maltese, an unusual formula by Professor Joseph M. Brincat. So now we have Malta is an Arabic language that developed on its own, but still kept the substrate of classical Arabic with it. All right? Here you go. Varieties of Arabic. Go to Wikipedia. You're going to see on the bottom, secular Arabic, Maltese, Sicilian. Y'all didn't know that. Y'all didn't know that in Italy, in Sicily, and in Malta, they speak Arabic. Yes. Okay? And they're Christians. They're Catholic, Christian, Arabic-speaking people. Here you go. Because y'all know everything, right? Now, go to the Open Lexicon for Maltese. It's called Gabra. Go right now. So you're going to say Shaka's making this up. Go right now. I wish you had the cam on me. Go right now. Okay, go right now. I want to see me. Go right now to the Open Lexicon for Maltese. It's a free. You ain't got to pay. It's called Gabra. G-A-B-R-A. Google Gabra. And then when you go, I want you to type in God, so we can see how they spell God in Maltese Arabic, secular Arabic. This is the word God. How do they say it? How do they say that? Allah. How do they spell it? A-L-L-A. Still, they still kept the same spelling from Allah. These people who got their Arabic from the Maghreb Moors who migrated to Sicily and Malta, right? They retained the old spelling of Allah. A-L-L-A. There's no H. And that's an Arabic version of Allah. So don't tell me that we're talking about two different gods. We're not. We're talking about the same God with variations in the spelling. And you go look it up right now. You see if I'm lying or not. Gabra, an Open Lexicon for Malta. Right? Gabal, the free open lexical for Maltese, built by collecting various different lexical resources into one common database. While it is not yet a complete dictionary for Maltese, it already contains 16,000 entries and 4 million inflectional word forms. Many of these are linked by root, including translations in English, and are marked for various morphological features. God in Maltese Arabic is Allah. Go ahead, try it, type it in. Ironically, Malta is to this day one of the most Catholic countries in the world. About 95% of the population, more than 400,000 people living in an area of over 300 kilometers squared, is Roman Catholic. Religion and the Secular State in Malta by Andrea Bettini. Okay? So, in Arabic, in a form of Arabic that still exists to this day, Allah is still spelled like Allah in the after the Hasis. A-L-L-A. I showed you it's the same God. I'm not telling you, I'm showing you. This is real research. You don't know anybody else that can show you this. This is real research. Y'all can't pay for this kind of knowledge. Never forget Allah, the rebel God. Okay? That's why I got him dressed like a rebel. Never forget Allah, the rebel God. He revolted, and he got his brothers to revolt with him. And he was slain and sacrificed and killed for it. Long before Jesus. So if Muslims really want to throw something in Christians' face, what they need to tell them, they need to tell these Christians, I don't want to hear your Jesus story. Allah was sacrificed first so that humanity could be created. But you can only tell them that if you know your story. Right? So, here we go, put it back on. Now that the Mesopotamian origin of Allah, I don't hear that fool. Now that the Mesopotamian origin of Allah or Allah has been established by the Mesopotamian text, the next question we must ask ourselves is the fez, the historical headdress adorned by the Jesus and Sumerian Allah-loving temple Moors, representative of the other half of the Mesopotamian identity they represent? So now we're going to answer that question. We coming to a close. All right? Reiterated, identity wars, foundational identity. Are the descendants of enslaved blacks in America the descendants of Canaan and or Mesopotamia? Uh-oh, we're going to find out right now. Let's see where that fez come from. Uh-oh. Now, they tell you it comes from Morocco, and that's why it's called a fez. So you got to explain that fez right there. Oh. Explain that fez right there. Hold up. Explain that fez right there. With the tassel and everything on it. See it? Yeah. Explain that fez. That's from Shamshi Adad V, was the king of Assyria from 824 to 811 BC. He was named after the god Adad, who is also known as Hadad. That's why when you meet Syrians, like my wife's godfather is a Syrian in Trinidad, all right? And his name is Hadad, because it comes down with the name. That's Syrian. You're trying to get black people to dress like Syrians. I'm not saying the Syrians were not black, but that goddamn sure is not our primal identity. Are you out your fucking mind? Come on, bro. Explain that fez. Put it back on there. Explain that fez. Huh? Explain that fez. They got the tassel on top too. The one y'all got all kind of stupid things about what that tassel mean. I'm going to tell you what that tassel mean one day. All right? Adad Neradi III. Also, Adad Neradi was king of Assyria from So now we Assyrians. You're claiming to be for the African community, but all you're trying to do is get us to dress like Assyrians. You got a Mesopotamian god, Allah, coming out of Akkad and Sumer, and now you got the fez in Assyria on the wall with the moon and with the crescent and with the moon and the star, with the sun, moon, and stars. Damn. That's where it came from. The sun, moon, and stars. That's why they rep that shit, because it comes out of Assyria. Come on, man. Let's get with it. This is the real shit.
Now, this is before the Moors.
Dude, there are no Moors here.
Oh, ain't no Moors at that time.
Ain't no Moors existing. This is where they got all of this shit from. So we come from Canaan. They sound stupid as hell. They retarded, man. I'm telling you, Lord Abba, you're a retard. All of you motherfuckers talking about pheasants and Allah, you are all retards, officially. I'm telling you that. Okay? Because you don't do real research. And you miseducating black people about they Moors. You need to do more research. Come on, man. Let's get with it. Where are you? Explain that fez. You see it? See the tassel? See the fez? On the wall, baby, in stone. Tiglath-Pileser.
Going in now.
His name means my trust in the son of Eshaddah. Okay? Was a prominent king of Assyria in the 8th century BC. All these guys are Assyrians who introduced advanced civil, military, political systems. You see that fez? That's all they wore was fezzes. And they want you to tell you it come from Morocco. Fez. It's called a fez because it comes from Morocco. Nigga, y'all out your minds. Y'all crazy. That shit come from Assyria. You gonna ask me, hold on, how the hell you gonna ask, turn that this way. How the fuck you gonna ask me what my nationality is and you don't know nothing about your own shit? You don't know about your fez, where it come from. You don't know about your God Allah that you worship, where he come from. You don't know about nothing. You don't know nothing. But you think you're going to teach me and tell me something. Laugh about my lot. Oh, Shakka's a homosexual. Please. Man. Look, I spend too much time studying. I could barely have sex with the woman in my life. I got time to have sex with a man? Really? Come on, man. Y'all crazy. Want to put my name with Africa Bambaataa. I ain't made no. Hey, yo. Hey, look. I ain't got, look, check it out. Africa Bambaataa got his own problems. You feel me? He created them. He's the author of them. He got to live with that shit. But Dad, don't put my name with that man's name. Don't do that. No, you ain't never seen a picture with me with that man. He was, a matter of fact, Africa Bambaataa, correct me if I'm wrong, he was a Moor, wasn't he? Africa Bambaataa's a Moor. I'm not a Moor.
That's right.
So don't mention my name with his name. If that's how Moors get down, that's how Moors get down. But don't mention my name with that shit. Okay? Here we go. Because y'all asking for this ass whooping. Here you go. Sargon II, reigned 722 to 805, it'd be 705 BC, was an Assyrian king. I'm not going to even read the rest because it's not important. All right? He took his name, now check it out. He took his name after Sargon of Akkad. This is an Assyrian king who's naming himself after an Akkadian king, which tells you they all the same. All they did was take each other's culture. That's it. They inherited one after the next. Do you see the fez? Your brother Shakka Ahmose is showing you where the fez come from. That is not Morocco. That is not Africa. Now you know why every motherfucker wearing a fez in Africa is a goddamn traitor to Africa. Because that's not African culture. That is from Assyria, Tigris and the Euphrates, Mesopotamia. Almost done. There you go. Esarhaddon. Ashur-Haddon. Okay? Like Ashur. The first part of his name is Ashur. The second part is Hadad, after the god. Okay? His name is Akkadian. Now these are Assyrian kings, but their names are Akkadian. These are all Akkadian people. You got to understand the relationship between Sumer, Babylon, Akkad, and Ashur. If you don't study that relationship, you're not going to understand these people. Okay? Yeah, we almost there. We almost done. But now you know where the feds came from. There it goes. Ashurbanipal, Akkadian. Ashur is Assyrian from the country Ashur, the capital Ashur. Ashur Bani Apli. Ashur is the creator of an ear. Okay? He was an Assyrian king, the son of Ashur-Haddon, and the last strong king of the Neo-Assyrian Empire. These is who the Moors are claiming. When the Moors want to claim, this is what they are claiming. Look at the fez. Look at the nipple. If you go on one of the Moorish websites, they tell you the nipple represents the female womb or some shit like that. You know?
Supposed to be the clitoris?
Nah, it represents the female womb or something like that. That's what they say. Them fools make up anything. Every time they don't know something, they make up something. You know? Or they go to another scholar that got it wrong because they never seen real research like this before. Stupid motherfuckers. Here you go. Oh, this is called a Lamassu. Sumerian Lamar, Akkadian Lamassu. Sometimes called Lamasis, is an Assyrian protective deity, often depicted. It's Sumerian, it's Assyrian. See that fez? That's a different version of the fez. You see how when the women wear their turbans and it goes up in the middle like this? That's where it comes from. See it? Ain't nobody else ever showed you that. That's primary evidence. That's why they fez go up like that. I mean, the Moorish woman, where they wear them scars on their head and they got that, it goes up in the middle like that. That's where it comes from. Because the original Lamassu is female, by the way. This is the male counterpart called a Shedu. See? A less frequently used name is Shedu, which refers to the male counterpart of a Lamassu. The Lamassu or Lamasi represent zodiacs, parent stars, or constellations. Yeah, bro, there's your fez. We almost there, but we almost there. Look at those are different versions of fezes. Different Lamassu, Sumerian culture. It's right in the museum. There you go. There you go. More fezes. There you go. That's the original fez from Sumer. See it? That's the fez that started it all. That's the fez that they adopted later on down the line. The Akkadians adopted theirs, and then the Babylonians, and then the Assyrians. There you go. But the Assyrians were trying to re-emerge ancient Akkadian culture, but all that culture was based on Sumer. This is it right here. It's a Sumerian deity holding a foundation peg. There you go. That's where it comes from. That's what they claiming. They're not African. Don't come into the African community with all the Sumerian shit. I know the Sumerians were black people. I'm pretty sure the Akkadians were, but then you had to deal with Semitic people up there too. All right? There you go, folks. The birthplace of Allah, the birthplace of the fez. This is where the Jesus-loving Temple Moors culture comes from. This is what they represent. But the morons think they come from over here in Canaan. But all that time you heard me talking, you didn't hear me mention nothing about Canaan. The reason all that stuff got over to Canaan was because when the Babylonian Empire expanded, all these, and matter of fact, Assyrian too. The Assyrian and Babylonian Empire conquered all these people. That's how all that Fed shit and Allah and all that, that's how all that stuff got over there. Okay? Come on, man. There you go. Slaves who still love Jesus, believe in the Bible, who believe the Sumerian rebel god Allah is the God of the universe. A room full of ignorance. I blotted out two faces that I respect. Two faces that I respect, I blotted out. But I want you to remember that when you see these fez-wearing Negroes, that they don't know who the fuck they are. They are lost. Okay? They got Assyrian fezzes on their heads. Okay? Oh, there go Bebe with the fez. Right there. He got the nerve to call himself Taharka. But yo, Taharka was not an Assyrian. Taharka was not an Assyrian fez-wearing man. You got your cultures. You need a cultural GPS. Bebe. Bebe, you need a cultural GPS calling yourself Taharka. Ain't no Taharkas up in there. Ain't no Dahoutis up in there. Y'all want to claim all of this Kemetic stuff, but everything I showed you just came from here. You're lost. Ancient Kemet is over here. Ta-Nehisi, Nubia is over here. That shit y'all repping is from over here, next to Iran, next to Persia, right? This is where all that shit is coming from. Nah, bro, miss me with that shit. My people are African, and we proud to say it. There you go. The miseducated and the misguided, further miseducating our women and our children. That's what's going on. They telling you about that Circle 7 Quran being Allah guided Noble Jew Ali. But now you know who Allah is because your brother Shakka Ahmose showed you. I'm not showing you that picture to disrespect you. These are my people up here. But I got a bunch of morons miseducating them. You understand? All you doing is you're no different than the Hebrew Israelites. Dealing with a culture you know nothing about because none of you have done any real research. You think it's all about treaties. Like this white man got what he got because of treaties. Ask the Native American, who you also claim to be. Y'all want to be everything but African. Y'all want to be, we the natives of America. We the indigenous of America. We are the Moors. We from, y'all want to be everything but Africa because you hate yourselves. You hate yourselves. All of you, each and every one of you hate yourselves. You are Africans. Take that goddamn Assyrian shit off your head. Fuck wrong with you people. They couldn't be more wrong. You feel me? And there go Bebe with the fez. Pledging allegiance to the American flag. Standing in front of an American flag. Red, white, and blue right there. They even wearing red, white, and blue. Look, red, white, blue. They claim this shit. Y'all want to be everything but African. You hate yourselves. You hate yourself. You hate yourself. She was taught to hate herself. She was taught to hate herself. You teaching our babies to hate themselves. She hate herself. They're beautiful though. Look how beautiful the women are. But they are taught to hate their African ancestry. They think by embracing this bullshit, they are something more than African. You will never be anything more than African. Never. I showed you the DNA test in the beginning. Did I not, Senator?
Yes, you did.
71% Niger, Congo, Kordofanian. Okay? 71% Niger, Kordofanian. That is what you are. That's your DNA, African American or American Africans. You trying to claim everything else under the sun. You want everything except the land that got all of the gold and the diamonds and the cobalt. You want everything except the oil that all the Arabs want. You want to claim y'all are a bunch of fucking idiots. Straight up. I'm not pulling my no punches for you. Y'all talk all that Moorish shit to be, and hold on, and I got to tell you something that you don't know. This whole presentation was just a crumb. That's how I roll. This is real scholarship. I will change your fucking life. You understand? That's what I came for. To give black people the truth. Get you off them plantations. Get off the plantation. Get off the Assyrian plantation. Get off the Akkadian plantation. Get off the Christian plantation. Because that book says in itself, it's for all those who love Jesus.
That's what it said.
Yo, I'm not Obama, but I would drop the microphone. Boom.